Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to Feezy's Media. I'm Jay Feezy, and in this episode of That One Movie, oh man, this movie, the talk of the town. Of course, I am talking about Obsession, as you already know from the thumbnail. I've been wanting to talk about this one for a while. We are recording as of May 30th, and I saw this last week, the week prior, and I already wanted to see it again. And yeah, for those of you who this is your first time here, thank you for joining. Thank you for giving us the time of day. Appreciate you for taking the time with me back again. Welcome, the Movie Canon. Geo, how you doing?
Hey, Feezy. Thank you for inviting me here on your video discussion of Obsession, one of the biggest horror films already in 2026. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, I'm excited for our discussion. Thank you again for inviting me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Always a pleasure to have you on. For those of you that didn't catch it, we did the previous one before this. That one movie was on Sinners. So if you missed it, be sure to check out the channel on Feezy's Media and check out that episode. It's episode 5. I apologize in advance for the audio. I tried to do my best. I know it's not the best, but I try to do what I can. But just know that ahead of time, going in the audio is a little dirty there, but you can still make it out. You can still make out what we're saying, what we're talking about. It was still a good, fun stream, a good discussion on that one as well. And I'll put that link in the description below. But yeah, on this one, like I said, Obsession. And before we jump into it, I just want to give you all who may not be familiar with me and with my panels here, my co-host, my partner Geo, a little background on where we're coming from. We're both big movie buffs. Obviously, we have our channels here. We discuss film, television. We're both horror fans, in addition to a bunch of other genres. I like all genres, but real quick, just again, so you know what type of movie goer we are and the movies that we watch. So my top horror films, Weapons for sure, Conjuring, Hereditary, Talk to Me.
Hmm.
Yeah, Sinners is up there. So yeah, Terrifier was one of is up there also. Terrifier 3 specifically. So of all the sub horrors of genre, I typically say open to, as well as all the other movies and anything art. I'm open to experience and enjoy and keep an open mind about. Gio, yeah, you want to give the viewers here a little background on yourself?
Yeah. I've been a horror fan since as far as I can remember. I guess some of my favorite horror films are going to be kind of cliche, typical, right? So, my favorite horror film is the first Exorcist film, 1973,
Mm.
which that was our first ever stream video. I think that's when I first met you, Feezy, when we talked about the first Exorcist back
Oh yeah,
in 2023. Yeah, because it was the anniversary of
that's right. Yeah,
the
yeah. Thank
film.
you for
Yeah,
reminding
so
me. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about that. Yeah, that's also up
yeah.
there with my favorites. And yeah, that's I'll put that link in the description below or afterwards. But
Mhm.
yeah, we also did a that one movie discussion on The Exorcist. So yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
reminding me. Yeah, but sorry, go ahead, Gio.
So The Exorcist is the one. Like I said, it's I feel like most people watching it now for the first time may not have the same impact anymore because there's some other horror films and even some other type of horror films that are kind of related to exorcisms and stuff like that it kind of lost its impact a little bit, but it's still my favorite one. Also like my slasher films, I'm a Scream
Mhm.
fan, Halloween, Friday the
Yes,
13th,
sir. Yeah,
Chucky,
yeah,
things
yeah.
like that. Also like one of my favorite films is also The Shining, uh, with Jack Nicholson. So those are some of my favorite films out there that I really like, and so you know, just growing up watching those films, I don't think it affected me, even though I was a little kid when I was watching these horror movies. But I always find it to be a little what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of creative when it comes to like horror, because most
Yeah.
horror movies they usually make them in very low budgets, so you don't get
Mm.
like a huge production. Like we're not gonna see a Christopher Nolan Odyssey film with a horror film.
Mm.
We're not gonna see that. So I feel like a lot of those films are more like smaller productions usually, so they have to be a little bit more creative. You have to really
Yeah.
think through as to what it is that you're gonna do. So it kind of like makes the experience a little better, and it kind of inspired me growing up to try to do some horror films on my own and things like that. But yeah, that's kind of my background when it comes to like movies and specifically horror and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, you did touch on some things that I actually want to bring up for this movie specifically about being creative, just because, again, being I would say seasoned horror fans here. We kind of know all the tropes, all the cliches. As some of you
Hmm.
viewers out there, you know those as well. And so it's like, at what point do you need to switch things up to stand out, right? And kind of think outside the box, basically, or outside the cell in the horror sense, yeah. But
Hmm.
and yeah, this movie did some things that yeah, I was really impressed by, and that got me. But and of course, don't get it twisted. Don't get me wrong. I love all those other ones you mentioned as well. But like, compared to, if I had a ranking, there's like some that definitely stand out above others. But yes, also my collection: Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play,
Hmm.
Halloween. Yeah, those are definitely classics, like you said, The Shining, and The Exorcist. So yeah, I think we're on the same page there as on horror movies and
Yeah.
what we like. I think our tastes are pretty similar here. But all right, so again, just quick background to give you guys an idea of where we're coming from. But let's go ahead and jump into it. So this movie, the reason why you're here, Obsession, man. Yeah, right before I actually started this video here, I went and checked the ratings to see where this is sitting at. And last I checked, again, this is as of morning May 30th. Critics gave it a 96%, audience gave it a 95%. So that's one of those rare occasions where the critics and the audience are pretty much aligned. I
Yeah.
personally just tend to follow the audience regardless. I don't really, I notice my views and my opinions and my likes tend to align more with the audience. But yeah, right. This is kind of like a rare instance, right, where we don't see that happen too much.
Yeah, that doesn't happen that often. It's usually, it really is the opposite of
Yeah,
what we see with the reception. The critics really love it, or the audience is like no, or vice versa.
yeah,
So that's usually the
no,
case. And once in a while, you get one that it's like, oh, no one liked this movie. The audience didn't like it, the critics didn't like it.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
s- but uh, but yeah, that is kind of rare. At least from what I can think of right now, that we get both the reception from the critics and the audience that are kind of both really loving it. And this movie is getting a lot of success just everywhere. So
yep.
I'm glad for that. So
Yeah. Yep. First off, yeah, I will just say, yeah, big kudos, congrats to Curry Barker and the team, everyone who worked on this movie. Because yeah, we'll get into the earnings later on, but hugely successful, and yeah, that's like a testament to itself, right? When both the audience and the critics are aligned in the ratings, that should already tell you something. That should be like the first indicator. Is like, oh man, this is something special here, because again, that rarely happens. But before we go further into it, I do want to say this is a spoiler discussion. I did have that in the thumbnail, but I just want to reiterate. So if you're coming here, think not wanting to get spoilers,
mhm.
go see the movie first. You'll be glad that you did. I would say I would put my money in, especially if you're a horror fan. You'd be glad that you did. Go see it and then come back. But if you don't care and you're here, you're just curious because you hear all the buzz and you want to see what it's all about and you don't care about spoilers, then welcome and enjoy. Hopefully you enjoy this. But okay, so with that out of the way, again, spoiler discussion. Let's see here. Okay, so I mentioned Curry Barker earlier, directed, edited, and wrote this movie. So this is actually his second directorial debut. His first was a YouTube movie, actually. So he started on the YouTube environment, and I believe he's still going on. But yeah, he has a lot of shorts and on there. But his first movie he directed is on YouTube, and it's free to watch. And I'll put that link in the description below, so it should be there if you want to check it out. It's called Milk and Cereal. I actually saw that yesterday, and for what it was, yeah, it was pretty good. Again, horror aspect, and he also, I should add that he also has some comedy shorts that he does on YouTube. So it's, I've been seeing somewhat of a trend here with comedians or people who come from a comedic background and switch over to horror. They seem to be pretty successful. I haven't went
Oh,
back and looked at all the track record of all comedians, but
like
it
Jordan
seems to be
Peele.
some sort of pattern there. Yeah. So a different outlook, or at least maybe that's one of the perspectives, right? For comedians, they take a different, unique perspective or another look at how horror can be done. And I think of Jordan Peele for Get Out as an example. That was another one. So that's the only one that comes to mind. But yeah, so Curry Barker, cast includes for this movie Indy Navarrete, Michael Johnston, Cooper Tomlinson, and Megan Lawless. Also to add, Cooper Tomlinson Also worked with Curry Barker, and he also appears in the movie Milk and Cereal.
All right.
Cooper Tomlinson. He was Ian in this movie here, so yeah, he's also in Milk and Cereal. So they kind of already, you can see that they have that established relationship. And I'm not sure how far that goes back, but I'm sure they've known each other for a while. It seems like so. Yeah, first premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival, September of 2025. So from there, it was picked up by let's see, Bloomhouse showed some interest, Bloomhouse Productions, and so they were on to produce this movie, as well as Capstone and Tea Shop Productions, I believe it was. Bloomhouse, I think a lot of you might be more familiar with. They're the ones who also produced Lee Cronin's The Mummy, Black Phone, and Megan 2.0. So just to name some. And this was distributed by Focus Features in the US, and then internationally it was distributed by Universal. So I believe Universal may have the rights to this, or at least some say in ownership of this movie. But I mean, could that mean we could possibly see some Universal Horror Nights interaction there for their
Yeah.
Universal Studios annual Halloween celebrations? Well, I don't know. We'll see. I haven't seen anything yet, but that could be a thing. I don't know. Yeah, that could be a thing. Yeah. So with that, we'll go ahead and just discuss the movie itself. I just wanted to give those deets for you guys, some specifics on the movie. But yeah, Indy Navarrete already. I think this is probably her breakout role. I know she's been into a couple other things prior to this, but yeah, she's putting herself on the map, on the screen, I should say, quote unquote, for this movie. And I agree, man. She did a great job. This is here. I have some photos of just some of the many faces of Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
That should probably be its own account or something like that. But the photo on the top left is one of the Instagram photos that was going around. This kind of just shows her makeup in one of the scenes. And yeah, she killed it. I was really impressed by her performance overall. So many different reactions and emotions that gone through. And I think I remember hearing in an interview that she was in that, Curry Barker had, obviously there's like a script and there's kind of like an idea of what he wants, but he gave them the freedom to improv and just let them, come up and do their thing basically. And she said she felt safe about that. She felt, and I'm paraphrasing here, but she, that kind of allowed her to open up and just let go and let loose, because this is, this film is just like where it was coming from and the vibe. And so, yeah, and it really came through. She did a great job. I don't know, what are your thoughts on Navarrete's performance?
I'm going to say it again, Feezy, like I did in Sinners.
Oh, here we go.
So
right here first.
So now that I see that the Academy, like the Oscars, they're actually embracing a little bit more of horror into their life. So I mean, there's a lot of performances that still need to be seen throughout the year. It's only late May, so there's like 7 months to go. But I wouldn't be surprised if she gets Oscar nomination for this, for Best Actress in a leading role, or I mean, it depends if they consider it leading or supporting. But she is insane in this movie.
Yeah.
The most disturbing expression in these photos is actually the one where she's smiling.
Yeah,
the one
here on the right.
And the right. So especially since we know the reason why, she's just standing there, and apparently she was standing there all day waiting for Bear, and she just kind of stood there, and whatever happens throughout that entire day. So that was kind of disturbing. There's a lot of shots that we get of her, like full shots, close-ups of her that are just kind of creepy, and she just delivered an absolutely what's the word I'm looking for, unsettling performance. Some of the stuff that she just randomly starts screaming or just freaks out like in an instant, and it's not even supposed to be like they're kind of like jump scares, but it's more like it's a jump scare because you're not expecting her to react so crazy out of nowhere and instantly. So that was just brilliant. That was just absolutely great. So I wouldn't be surprised if she gets nominated for this, but yeah, she's definitely on the map before. I guess she was in Superman and Lois. I haven't watched that show,
That's
but
right. Yeah.
I guess she had several. I think she's been on the show from the beginning. I'm not totally sure, but I saw that she was in that. And then she has some other movie coming up, or maybe it already came out. Trap House. I don't know exactly what that is, but I don't know if it
Oh
already
yeah.
came
Yeah.
out. Oh no, that was last year. That was last year.
Yeah.
So I didn't see that, but I don't really see anything else. I guess she was on 13 Reasons Why, the show, which I also haven't seen. But so I
Yeah.
guess
I
this is
haven't
the
seen it
one
either.
this is definitely going to be the breakout role here. This is one that people are going to start paying attention to her. But yeah, she was great. She was absolutely great.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think I agree that she could potentially, hopefully, she does get a at least an Oscar nomination for this because yeah, and it's coming off the success of Sinners 2 and how many nominations that got
Hmm.
at the Academy Awards. And I'm not one to really follow that, anyways. I mean, I think I mentioned this in previous. Like, I'm,
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of feel a certain way about that. But still, like, just in general, when an actress, an actor, or any cast or crew member gets acknowledged for the work that they've actually put in, is always great to see. It's always great to see. So hopefully she's definitely getting her kudos because I know she's getting recognized. I'm not gonna lie, I was not familiar with this actress before this, and I think a
Same
lot of
here.
people are in the same situation, right? So
Hmm.
it's always love seeing like others, new faces, and then them just kind of exceeding and making a name for themselves. Kind of coming from an unfamiliar place to a more well-known name. So yeah, I love to see it, and that's why I hope I want to. I look forward to seeing more of her in these types of roles. Not to say she should get typecasted, but but still, like, just to see what else she can do from here on out. But yeah, awesome performance. So
Hmm.
and then I just realized, again, I know this spoiler discussion, but just to kind of recap for those who may have not seen it but are here just out of curiosity. So the overall premise, there's a guy, he has Michael Johnson, who's plays Bear. He has a crush. He is in love with Nikki
Nikki.
secretly, right? So they've been friends for a while, but just he ends up falling in love with her, but he's in one of those situations he doesn't want to tell her. He comes across um, this item that allows you to that grants you one wish, right? And so we'll look at that later. It's called the One Wish Willow, and he just makes a wish. I wish he would love me more than anything in the or anyone in the whole world. And yep, supernatural forces take place, and she ends up doing just that. Like, she just transforms into another person, basically is what it comes down to. And then is just so much infatuated with Bear, with him, that she'll do anything, like, to like a crazy degree. And we'll touch on that more later about that theme in general on codependence. I know Terry Barker mentioned that that's what he wanted to. That was like kind of like the overall theme of this movie, is just codependence in a relationship. And yeah, it just gets like really disturbing, like Gio just mentioned here. And we'll talk about some crazy scenes more about that. But so I mentioned Michael Johnston. Let me go ahead and switch over here. So yeah, this is Michael Johnson. He plays Bear, another one of the main roles here. I think he did a good job. No shade to him, but yeah, like, again, like we were saying, Nikki she just like stole the movie, and it was kind of, yeah, a lot of this was about their relationship, but no, I think he did a great job as well. Playing his character and coming across as kind of like a more timid, shy person, and not knowing how to
Hmm.
approach the woman that he loves. And I think he did a good job. What were your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, his performance was very very good as well. I was not familiar with this actor either. Apparently, he was in what, Teen Wolf, the MTV. I never really seen that show. So apparently, he was in that. And I guess he was in the Maestro, a movie in 2018. Uh,
Oh, okay, yeah,
so
I've heard of those. Yeah.
I think I saw part of that, but I didn't care for it. But so to me, this for to me this was kind of like the breakout role as well, for him, because a lot of people are gonna recognize him now, or know him now because of this movie. With the success that it has so far.
Yep.
Oh, and I guess he also voiced Nathan Summers in X-Men '97. He's going to continue doing that
That's
for
right.
season
Yeah, I did
two.
read about that. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes,
I wasn't aware of that either.
yeah. So he's doing that, and so yeah, he was able to portray the character very very well. A person who is very, like you said the word timid. He's just kind of
Mhm.
trying to, like, is in love with this girl, but he doesn't go and do anything about it. He's just like waiting and waiting, and he's kind of like forced to do something about it because the friend Nikki uh, tells him and their group of friends that she is putting in her 2 week notice because they work together at that music store.
Yep.
So she's gonna leave. So it kind of feels like this is the opportunity that I need to, um, you know,
Yeah.
tell
Now or
her
never,
how he
basically.
feels. Yeah, yeah, exactly like that. And then I also remember the opening scene of this movie. You know how he's like practicing with the waitress. So it opens
Oh yeah.
it
Yeah.
opens
Yeah.
at a diner. It opens at a diner, and my first impression of that. Okay, so he's telling this girl these things of what he's feeling for this girl, right? He's like going
Yeah.
deep in there and just
Deep in there.
leaving it out there. Yeah. So so doing that, and then you see that it's not Nikki, because we've seen Nikki, we've seen the character in the trailer. So it's like, oh, it's not the girl
Yeah.
that we know is the main character in the film or one of the main characters. So you see some other girl, a waitress. So while he's doing that, before they reveal that, oh, he was just practicing, that was just a little
Yeah.
test run before he actually tells Nikki this.
Yeah.
At first I thought like, oh, are they trying to say that this is the first one that he's like really in love with, and this girl's gonna break his heart, and now he falls in love with the character that we do end up seeing, Nikki.
Oh, I see. I
And
see.
so for a second I was like, oh, are they gonna say that the obsession was really Bear, that
Mm.
he was the one that's obsessed? That's kind of what I thought that they were going with at first,
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
until we see that, oh yeah, he's just practicing, he's just a little test run right there, ready to just pick some random waitress, and then she seemed all excited about it or whatever, and then so that's what I thought first. But I mean, overall, like I said, he has a lot of emotions in this movie too. He's just like shocked and surprised, and he's just like screaming and crying, and a lot of complexity in the character here. And there's also a question as to whether he's part villain of the story here, or is he also a victim, or kind of like that. So we kind of
Yep.
go back and forth with that information there. So overall, the great performances, especially the main two leads, are just uh, great, and in a horror
Yeah.
movie, which I like to see more of. I also like seeing that there's a lot more horror doing well. Even like last year,
Yeah.
we mentioned Weapons. Weapons was a horror
Here.
film from
Here.
last year that
Yep.
was received very well, both critically and with the audience. And now we have this film, and there's some others that are coming out this year, and yeah, so I'm excited for horror as always. So great performances here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree with you. Agree with you. Yeah, everything you mentioned. And actually, now that I think about it, and apologies, it's like I said, it's been like about a little more than a week since I've seen this movie. I definitely want to go see it again, but so my memory's on a little fuzzy on some scenes, but yeah, and I think now that you mentioned that, I think I was kind of felt the same way when it opened with him, and pouring out his soul, his heart and soul, basically, and we
Hmm.
don't see who he's talking to. Yeah, I think I was like, okay, oh, here we go. This is maybe this is where the obsession develops. Yeah, and so, and then we find out that's well, I guess it's still up for interpretation, right? To, how that who was actually obsessed, but we'll get
That's
into that
true.
later here.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so the waitress, they reveal the waitress he's talking to, and we never see her again, right? I just realized that also.
I don't think so.
Like, no, okay, yeah, yeah. He was just practicing on the waitress, like Gio was mentioning, to kind of when he actually went pretty deep. I mean, for not knowing this way, I don't know if it's like a diner they usually go to, but yeah, he's just practicing what he's gonna say to Nikki, to this waitress, and
Mhm.
he seems sincere. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting. Yeah, take there. I thought he was actually telling the uh the girl that he's in love with, Nikki in this case, that how he actually felt. But no, it was just practicing in front of other people to his friend,
Yeah. Right.
Ian, played by Cooper Tomlinson. Yeah, was there giving him feedback. So yeah, crazy. But yeah, with that, we'll go ahead and just go into the actual like certain scene specific moments and just about the themes of the movie overall. I know Gio already kind of started mentioning on that. Um, but yeah, mentioned the One Wish Willow. So it's he gets that One Wish Willow. Bear gets the One Wish Willow that he finds at this kind of like what type of store is that? It's kind of like herbal, earthy, kind of like gemstone type of like geode store, like has like a bunch of stones and kind of natural, like herbal type of like, I'm talking about like one of those types of stores, like
Yeah.
medicinal and, um,
I
um,
don't know. I don't know what they're called, but yeah, it's one of those like
yeah,
some people believe like certain rocks,
yeah,
meats,
yeah.
things.
Things
Yeah.
along, yeah, those like incense and things like that. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that. It's kind of like purifies the soul and things like that. So like one of those stores, he's looking for a gift for Nikki to give her because she had said she had lost one of her necklaces, I think it was, or she dropped it or something and it broke or something along those lines. But he wanted to give a necklace and he couldn't find one that he felt that was right for her. And then he ended up seeing this one wish willow and he ended up buying one. Um, yeah, and so he drives her home, obviously after like they're partying and or having a good time a night out. And that, like Gio mentioned, that's where she mentions he breaks the news to him that she's leaving, giving her 2 weeks notice because they all work at the same store. So Nikki, Bear, and the two other friends, Ian and Sarah, they work at the same store, the music store, and she's gonna move away. Basically, she put her in 2 weeks notice. She's gonna move away, and that's when Bear was like, "Oh shit, I got to do something now." Busts out the one wish willow after he fumbled his opportunity because Nikki does go back and she asks him flat out like, do you like me or do you have feelings for me or something along those lines, right? And again, he's Bear being timid, shy, and just he doesn't have the confidence. He's something along the lines of no, we're just friends. Um, and
Yeah.
then she just walks away and he gets hit. He's like hitting himself basically. He knows he messed up, and so one wish willow took it out. It plays a tune and then he breaks it and then instantly it's like it works like within seconds and then we come to this scene here where she's just standing out in front of the house, her house, when she had already went inside. And so yeah, instant from here, I think up until this point there's like a buildup. I was telling others who haven't seen it yet that there's like a little slow start to develop the relationships, I think, which is usually the case. And then once it gets going though, once it picks up, it the pace just goes from there. So you can get through that, and I forget the time frame, but once you get that the initial phase of knowing who the characters are, setting some basis for the relationships, and you go from there, it picks up. Yeah, it takes off, man. It gets hectic, and it gets really intense. You start slowly picking up little things that, okay, Nikki's the wish that Bear had, again, he was wishing that Nikki would love him more than anyone else in the world. You can start seeing how that starts to develop and play out, and how extreme that is. And I think this is one of the first scenes here where they're at the restaurant. If you're just listening, yeah, there's a scene where they're at the restaurant. He gets a call from his friend Ian, and he leaves the table. Bear leaves the table and goes to talk with him, and then you can kind of see Nikki in the background kind of step out and look in his direction, like, "What are you
Oh
doing?"
yeah.
And so we're
That was
looking at
pretty
here at
fun.
an image, yeah, of where she's just like staring at him. I think the first of many where she's just staring at him and in his direction to see what he's up to. So yeah,
And doesn't she like slowly, like all eerily walk back onto her table, like or back to her seat? Like she like
yeah,
walks out and then she goes back back in.
yeah, yeah, like really creepy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that shot right there. Yeah.
And this
At least,
phone
at
call
least, at least that's what I remember. So I only seen the movie once. I meant to watch it another time before this, but that's what I recall. But
No, yeah, I think you're right on that one. Yeah, I might be mistaken, but I think that seems right. But in this
mm,
call, as you guys remember, who've seen it, this is where he finds the news that Ian was mentioning his Bear's friend that uh, Nikki's dad isn't sick, like she mentioned to Bear earlier that he was sick. I think that he had some sort of sickness. I don't know if it was cancer. I can't remember if it was cancer or not. But then Ian was telling me like, no, her dad's not sick. He's fine. They just don't have a good relationship, basically. And so then
mm,
after he gets off the phone, Bear confronts her. And he's like, is your dad actually sick? And then so that's where things like again, it continues to pick up. Like I mentioned, we see her standing in the background, but from there she just kind of bursts out in one of those moments, like Gio was saying, where she just starts screaming and making a scene there at the restaurant, and you kind of feel like awkward also along with him. They did a good
yeah,
again, a testament to her acting, man. I
yeah.
also felt like weird and awkward. I kind of wanted to look
I,
around to see if anybody else was looking.
no, I think she starts saying like no,
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 yeah,
no,
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 no, no,
no.
yeah.
I was like, I thought we were having a nice dinner or something like that. Then he
Yeah,
starts like
yeah,
elevating it, and then she stands up, or maybe she was already standing up. I don't remember, but then she
yeah.
started making a whole scene about it. And then he's like, "What's happening?" So yeah, that was kind of kind of crazy. Was that like the first like outburst, like the first main one? I don't know if that was like the very first one or not. Where because I think that must have been before the party, right? The hangout at Ian's. I think that was
Yeah.
before this, right? Yeah,
Yeah, that was before. Yeah.
yeah. So this might have been one of the first ones where he like really like goes off and he's like, "What the hell's going on?" But yeah, that was a
Yeah.
cool scene.
Yeah, I know it was, and I can't remember again. So apologies because it's been a bit. I can't remember like when that montage happens of when Bear when he realizes he kind of starts to have like a realization at some point that okay, what the hell, did my wish actually work?
Mm,
Because he does notice she's acting differently, her switches up, and she's just like really starting to like feel for him basically, and she's kind of giving him more attention. And there's a point I think where she goes to his she goes to his house. um and I think this is probably after the first night, yeah, like a couple of days after or so. And he's he at some point he's actually accepting of it. Like I think he knows that it's that has to do with his wish, and he's a little, so you can see he's a little hesitant at first, like, oh shit, is this, is this right? It is like, is this not there's even a time where like I think she wanted him to sleep with her. um yeah, at the beginning of the first, I think the first night after he made his wish, she wanted him to sleep with her, just to like lay with her, quote unquote, but then she kind of made a move on him and kissed him. And it just like he didn't think it felt right, because I think again he knew that the wish had, there was like an idea that the wish had worked, and he was like, oh shit, and so he ended up sleeping on the floor um that night. And so I think like the next day or two she came back, and for some reason like he, I think he asked her like, do you actually like me or something like along those lines? And she said yes. And I think that was at that moment, and reflect, he's like, what the hell, let's just go for it. Let me see if that works. Yeah, I mean, to see if this works out. And then they did this whole montage of them spending a lot more time together and doing things together, and kind of seemingly being like an actual couple, right?
yeah, the little montage when they're like showing being all happy and having
Yeah,
dinner together and cleaning or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
And like some of the montages that you've seen in other movies, not a horror like this. So that was kind of funny, but actually,
yeah,
but yeah, but I'm like that's just not gonna last. That's not gonna that's not gonna stay like that.
yeah,
But yeah, they do show a little bit of that he's like, oh, maybe he is accepting that. Oh, okay, maybe this is real. Maybe she does really like me, or like in the back of his mind, he was still probably like, was it really the wish, or maybe she really now is really liking me. So it's kind of like that's kind of the complicated parts of his character is like, I think he doesn't really believe that it happened, and he thinks that maybe it's real, and he was hopeful it's real, but the
yeah,
timing is kind of like, well, you did do that wish, and all of a
yeah,
sudden she's like obsessed. So it kind of goes back and forth with that at the beginning anyway, until it gets more
yeah,
obvious. Yeah.
yeah. And so that continues on, and then throughout the movie, again, as you guys know, we've seen it. She just more outbursts and weird moments that we'll kind of come back to. But Gio mentioned this party scene, right? So this is where at first Ian invited Bear to come over. um, he's having a party, and the Ian and Sarah, the two other friends, they notice that Nikki's been acting weird, and so that she is seemed really like possessive of Bear, and obsessed, like that she's just been acting differently, and so they're a little hesitant to invite her over, and they didn't invite either of them, Bear or Nikki, because of that. But then Ian comes around and invites Bear, only Bear, and so um yeah, one of the moments in the scenes we're talking about, Bear has already kind of caught on that Nikki's acting really weird and kind of scary at certain points. And so he wants to go to this party without Nikki, because I think to per Ian's request, you can come as long as Nikki doesn't come, because again, they're just like weirded out by how she's acting towards Bear. And so yeah, that whole scene itself, right? This leading up to this party scene, she's let me go back to actually these other photos here, because this is a part of it. This photo here on the top. Oh no, sorry. So starting off with the right, Bear has to go to work. He goes, after the door was duct tape. I think this is when he first
Oh,
goes to
that's
work
right.
when they're
That's
as
right.
a couple, and then he's like, "I'm gonna go to work now." And she's like, "Okay," again, paraphrasing, but then he goes to the door, and you could see it's just completely duct tape, like she doesn't want him to leave. So I thought that was kind of funny, but she's all like nonchalant about it. She's like, "Okay, have a good day." And he's just all forcing to try to get the door open. So he opens it.
Like that wasn't weird and crazy.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm just gonna cut this little duct tape and I'm gonna go to work now.
Yeah. I
So
might I might be confusing the scene, so I'm not sure if this is the same scene, but he goes somewhere. I can't remember if it was to work, but yeah, she just end up setting in the middle of the house in the living room like this on the picture on the right here. She's just with this smile
mhm,
the
mhm.
whole time, and she's just there like the whole day. I think his whole shift, if he did go to work, I think it was work.
Yeah.
Um, and then right after Bear closes the door, it kind of pans down from Nikki's smile all the way down to her feet. And even before that, you can hear like an audible like sound of like water, and then you kind of see that she's basically like peeing herself. She's just going right there on the floor, which I kind of didn't really um get the significance of that. I don't know if if that was meant to imply like she's didn't want to leave the spot because afraid she was gonna miss seeing Bear, so she just stayed there and not go to the restroom at all, or what? I don't know. How did you interpret that?
To me, it was just like she's gonna stay there the whole time, and if she wanted to use the restroom before that, she's not gonna do it right now because he's gonna wait for for Bear to come back. So that was just
Before
kind
she
of
was
like,
okay.
and it kind of just showed like, oh, she's gonna be there the whole day because she's not even gonna go to the bathroom
Yeah.
for
Okay.
this. She's just gonna pee right there, right there in the
That's
living
how
room.
dedicated she. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. I can see from
Yeah.
like the director's from Curry Barker's perspective. That's probably what. Yeah. I can see that. Like that's the impression he wanted to give. Like she's just gonna stay there the whole time. That she's committed. And then yeah, come flash forward or fast forward to when Bear comes back from work and she's just drenched, which I presume is sweat. She has all this. She has this stuff on her face. You can see here in this top middle picture. I don't know what that is. I don't know if she like vomited or what, and that's just like vomit. And she's completely soaked. There's crap on the floor, and it's just like a big puddle where she was standing. Because not only did she pee, I think it looked like she crapped as well. And yeah, she was just literally stuck there the whole day, and it was just really, really creepy. So um, she goes to shower. He comes home, and then that's where, like, again, going back to the party thing, that's where the whole party aspect comes into play, leading up to it here. Um, and so he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to this party," and she started freaking out. Yeah. And I think, remind me again, was that one of the scenes where is that the scene where she kind of did one of those freaky movements where she was kind of going to him and then she kind of did this movement backwards into like the shadows? Was that scene?
I don't remember if it was this particular scene. The part that was
Prior
there's
to
a couple,
the party.
yeah, the creepy thing. Well, there's a couple of creepy things that happen in this, but I don't know if you want to
Yeah,
go
there
into
was.
that.
Yeah.
If you want
Yeah.
to go
Okay.
into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess we'll come back to that. But yeah, so anyways, they go to the party. She ends up, Bear, just out of guilt, and ends up inviting her, Nikki, and they bring her, and they're like, "What the hell, dude?" Ian and Sarah are surprised to see her there. And then the craziness ensues, and so yeah, one of these funny moments, and then the tension that builds up in this scene because they're playing this Jenga game here, where that version where you pull one block and you have to do whatever it says on that block. That piece for Jenga. And then Bear draws when it's his turn. You can notice here he's sitting to the Sarah's right, and
Mhm.
it says, "What is it, like kiss the person on your left?"
Mhm.
And then that's when like he just it took him a moment to actually read it out loud. He looked at it and he didn't say anything, and he's just like staring at it, and then he just slowly says it, kiss the person to your left. And then again, such a good job, both the directing and the acting. You kind of feel like you're in the room, and then like the tension just builds up because by that point Nikki's already, you already know how possessive and crazy she was with Bear. And so yeah, I think the tension just started building up for me personally as I was watching. Was like, oh shit, you kind of like um start thinking like, what is Nikki thinking right now? And it's great because they don't even pan directly to or like cut straight to Nikki. They're just staying on Megan, sorry, Sarah and
So
Bear the whole time, and you kind of see like Nikki's shoulder, I think it is, or her arm in the foreground. Um, and then she just starts up walks around and she just pulls Sarah back from her chair, and then Nikki
Yeah.
just takes her place.
I think it's this shot. I think it's this shot, right? She just walks around there in this shot,
Yeah.
and then she just pulls Sarah's chair,
Yep.
and then she goes and kneels down next to Bear. Now she's left. She's on the left. She's on Bear's left. So
Yeah. On
now,
Bear's left. Yep.
yeah. So now he can kiss her.
Yeah.
So
That was tense. That one I really felt. Everyone in the room and within the movie, at the party was quiet. It was quiet all around, and yeah, it was well done scene there. And that's where she also, after that kiss, I think I forget what she addresses or how it comes up, but she ends up getting a bottle, breaks it, and this is where she stabs herself in the face a couple of times, and we were just like, holy shit! Again, kind of feeling the same reaction as the people there at the party. Yeah, it was just crazy. It's just one of those outbursts. What did you think when you first saw that?
it was just starting to get like, okay, so this is gonna elevate it even further now because now it's in front of other people,
Yeah,
and it's just like, okay, so now it's gonna get even crazier now at this point, and it's like, well, what is Bear gonna do at this point? Because at this point, this is where Bear should have like, all right, something's definitely wrong. Like there was some other stuff before, but
yeah,
now that she's actually like hurting herself,
yeah,
right there in front of everyone, is like, okay, something's going on. We have to call the police or go to the hospital, like actually go to the hospital,
yeah.
and actually get some help at this point because something's definitely wrong at this point. But as we see, he doesn't quite do that. So
Yeah, and he actually does take her to the hospital, right? And that's another thing where
right.
like you can't really hear the dialogue because he takes her there. The Some medics or nurses come out from the hospital,
Mhm.
and they're kind of like it's like a far away. It's
A
like a
white shot.
distant shot. Yeah, and then you kind of a wide shot, and then you see them just talking, but you can't hear what they're saying. You kind of just see them going through the motions. Bear's talking with the nurses or the medical staff, and probably I'm guessing like Nikki didn't want to leave. She didn't want to go with him, and like they were arguing. The medical people were arguing with Bear that maybe she didn't want to cooperate or something. I don't know, but it just turns out like Nikki didn't go to the hospital. She just stayed, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
to get
yeah,
treated.
yeah. That's exactly that's what I meant when it comes to like that he should have taken it to the hospital, like actually follow through with it because
Oh, I see.
he did actually take her technically, but we don't really know exactly. It didn't seem like she actually went, like she did actually
Yeah,
go in there and be treated or anything like that.
right.
Uh, but yeah,
Yeah, so going back to again these photos of Nikki and like the many faces of Nikki. Oh yeah, the one here. This bottom photo. Uh, this is the one where she stabs herself. Yeah, like Gio was mentioning. I think this is the first time she caused harm to herself, and it just gets like I said, like that. Once it picks up, it just keeps going. It gets crazier from there. But and she has just like kind of surprised, she's still kind of like happy and oops type of thing. Like the way just again her emotions, her reactions. Again, kudos to her, man. She just killed it. Um, but yeah, that was shocking. So we mentioned a couple. Geo mentioned, yeah, a couple creepy moments in this. This movie made me feel like gave me a creep factor that I haven't felt from other horror movies. And this is what I touched on earlier about trying horror movies now coming onto the scene. How would they make how do they make themselves stand out amongst other horror movies? And a lot of times some of the movies just kind of follow the same tropes. There's like slashers, right? There's like the jump
Mhm.
scares, things like that, and just more like either gore, um shock value. But and this has some of that, but I think we're at the point now, and I could be wrong, until I see otherwise, but I think we're at the point now where movie makers, they it seems like they have to start thinking, okay, we have these tropes, but how can I approach these tropes differently than what
Mhm.
others movies did to give a different feeling or a different impact, or to make it unique and fresh? And I think that's what they did here because there's not a lot of well, there's one gory scene actually we'll come to, but um,
Oh yeah.
it's not a lot. It's not too many of gory scenes. It's not like your traditional horror movie. It's more like a psychological horror, where it's like more like the mannerisms and things that they do and they say. And then there's the movements that Nikki does that really creep me out. And then, like again, I mentioned earlier, this is one scene where she's talking to Bear, and they're just out of nowhere. Again, just these kind of movements, these reactions, these the things that she does just out of nowhere randomly just kind of catch you off guard. She kind of did this creepy like back walk from, I think she was on the ground and she just kind of stepped up back into like the entryway or this
Oh yeah.
doorway, and she was in the shadows. That genuinely creeped me out. Like it's something simple and subtle, but still like the way it was done, I think it was in combination with the music and the vibe. Yeah, I definitely got chills, and there was a lot of chills on that. Were there any? I have one more in mind, but I'll pass it to you. Were there any other scenes like that that kind of gave you like unique, genuine like chills and just
Yeah.
fear?
Yeah, so you're talking about the when she's walking like backwards all creepily and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
There's a
Yep.
couple things. I think earlier in the film, once she was already hypnotized, there's a part when she goes and visits him, or yeah, I think she does come and visit him, and she opens the door. Bear opens the door, and then you see her there in the doorway. I don't know. Did
Yeah.
you mention
In
this?
red, right? That's the one where she was in red.
I think so, but you didn't
Yeah,
mention
yeah.
this yet, right?
I think that was the time where he went back and where she went back and he asked her if she actually liked him or loved him for him. Was that same scene, right? You're talking
No,
about?
I think she was visiting him.
Yeah.
Because at one point I think she did go back home, right? But then she kind of
Yeah.
came back.
Right.
So she knocked on the door, and then he opened the door, and then she was right there in the doorway, and then you could only see like her silhouette. Like you can't really see the details of her
Yeah.
face,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you can see a little bit of like, I don't know what you would call it. Like you see a little bit of her eyes, like a little like
Oh,
shimmer,
like a
like
glimmer, like a little
a
shine.
glimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in her eyes, so you can see that, and that was kind of creepy without like really doing like going overboard with it. Like you can't really see much of her. You just see like a shadow or like a silhouette of her, and then but the eyes, you can see like the eyes kind of like, I guess kind of like hypnotized. You can kind of see it, and it was kind of creepy that the way that that was done, and that was very effective and it worked very well. And then the other thing that was kind of like a jump scare that was used very well as well, that actually made sense, is when, as I mentioned earlier, that she just does like these random outbursts, or she just starts
Yeah.
yelling out of nowhere.
Yeah.
One of them is when we get the idea that there's moments like seconds of the real Nikki
Yeah.
that she kind of breaks through, and then she just starts like screaming and yelling,
Yeah.
like just out of nowhere, and then she feels like she's like trapped, and then she like tries to like reach out, and then she kind of like notices that like the spell um like ends or falls for like a few seconds, and
Yeah.
then you hear the real Nikki, or you see the real Nikki for a second. Then she's all like all shocked and surprised, and she starts yelling and screaming, and then it kind of like goes back. The I guess the effect returns as
Yeah.
her being
Yep.
hypnotized. So that happened a couple times where she did that. That was kind
Yeah.
of out of nowhere, in some unexpected moments that you hear the real Nikki, that she obviously does not want to be in that position, and that she
Yeah.
doesn't know what's going on, and there's like very little of it, but it was very effective, and those were some good jump scares that kind of worked for what's happening in the
Yeah.
stories.
I think one of the first ones actually. What? Yeah. I think one of the first ones like really that gave me like uneasy like nerves and actually like freaked me out was that scene where I think was this is after the first night that they actually like slept together and implying like I
Right.
think where they actually it seemed like they were both consensual, quote unquote. We'll come back to that theme, but where they had sex, I think for the first time, I think it seemed to imply.
Mhm.
And they wake up, or he wakes up, and she's not in bed. And then he's looking around, and it's like dark. It's in the middle of the night, and then he sees like a figure in the corner of the room, and he calls for her, and then she responds, and it ends up being her. You know how like one of those
Oh
there's
yeah.
one of those scenes that horror movies do where they kind of show you they pan over to like a certain part of the room or something, and like you kind of see like an outline of a figure, but the director kind of makes it seem like he wants to make the audience unsure if they're actually seeing something or not,
Mhm.
right? And so I kind of felt that way at least in that moment where it pans over to the corner of the room where we're kind of looking where Bear would be looking, and then we see some sort of figure, and I wasn't really able to make it out, so I was kind of squinting my eyes, but also just waiting back to see like, okay, is something going to jump out? Is that really her? And then sure enough, she talks and she slowly walks out, and it is her, and he's asking what she's doing. And she's like, I'm just watching you sleep. Yeah, that was, yeah. And then again had one of those bursts. She just started talking loud out of nowhere, and she slowly starts walking towards him, but she's still in the shadows.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I think she had this makeup on here on the top left. I think that was the scene where she had this makeup here, um, where she wanted to kind of be more in the dark. And I could be mistaken there, but yeah, it was, yeah, really creepy. And he wanted him to go back to sleep, and he reluctantly did. It was, yeah, that one was just like really creepy. But yeah, a lot of moments like that were seemingly like Nikki, the persona of Nikki, anyways, the obsessed version would appear in the shadows, like when she was talking, or when she took control, quote unquote. It seemed like those were the scenes where she was just covered in darkness, right? Like she was in the shadows, or she was hiding something, and something was about to she was about to say something that was just like out of nowhere, or just unexpected. Yeah. So now I wanted to come back to what you touched on too. I wanted to touch on this too. That it seems like there is a different persona that's possessed Nikki, right? So I don't know if it's a possession or not. If Because I just kind of side note here, I did watch and listen to an interview with Curry Barker, and he did say overall he didn't want this to be. I want to say he never wanted Nikki to play possessed. He just wanted her to be a jealous girlfriend. So that was his motivation for her, and I think that's what he directed her to play the role as, is a very jealous girlfriend, and not seem possessed. But
Mm.
that's not to say she. I think, again, I haven't confirmed this, and I haven't looked too much into this, but it seemed like she was possessed by another persona, right? Because then this is also evident when Bear, he calls a number on the one wish box after realizing
Oh
things
yeah.
it's getting worse, and
Mhm.
he still has a one wish box, or one wish willow box. He calls a number, and that scene in itself was creepy because if you remember, like, the guy answers on, again, kind of not expecting this response at all, but some guy's like, hello. The way the guy on the other end, the customer service guy,
Yeah.
um you think, you're like, okay, who's this guy, what is this kind of seems like a scam. Like, did Bear get scammed, and is this company actually legit? And then as he keeps talking to him, asking questions, the guy asked Bear, phone, he's like, do you want to talk to her? And he's like, what? And then all of a sudden you start hearing this screaming in the background. And that, yeah, just a simple, again, unique approach. Not expecting that at all, right? It's just a standard phone call. Bear's in the car on the phone. But then it just slowly builds up and turns into this eerie, creepy moment where you hear Nikki screaming in the background, kind of implying that her soul, or like the real Nikki, is trapped somewhere. I don't know. What was your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, just in general, like the whole situation where there's like parts of her like that is
Mhm.
still there that she's trying to break through.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I mentioned earlier. That yeah, that part was a bit creepy because it's just unexpected. That she just kind of she's trying to get out. Like there's like you get the effect that maybe she kind of knows what's happening sometimes, but
Yeah.
like there's some craziness going on, and there's moments where she kind of it snaps out of it, and then she's there, and then she's trying to get out, and then it comes back.
But do you think
So
she's actually trapped in like some like purgatory, or like in hell even, or where do you think
no,
the real Nikki
I,
is?
I don't think it's that. I think it's kind of like what do you call it? Well, I use the words hypnotize. Like you
Okay,
don't know, like you don't really know what's going on. It's like maybe you're like in a coma or something,
I see.
or you're like asleep, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden, like let's say her eyes are closed, like the real Nikki, let's say her eyes are closed, and all of
yeah.
a sudden she opens her eyes, and now she can see everything, and then she's now
Mhm,
seeing what's happening
mhm.
at that instant, and then she's
Yeah.
seeing all this shit, like, oh, she's seeing like Bear with her and doing things, and then it's like, where the hell, like, where am I, like, holy crap, and just kind of like snaps out of it, and then it goes back to you know getting hypnotized again, and then just
Yeah,
she like
for sure.
not necessarily blacks out, but it's kind of like goes into that coma again, I guess. That's kind of how I saw it.
Oh,
But
okay.
uh
Yeah, I
but
see.
uh
Yeah,
but
I can see some of that. The reason I was thinking, again, like she was trapped in some sort of like spiritual other like realm or dimension, is again because he made the call, right? And then the guy um asked him, if you wanted to talk to Nick, and I presume it was you hear someone screaming in the background. I presume it was her, and like that he was implying like she's right here. If you want to talk to her, and you can hear her screaming in the background. So I think it, to me, I thought it went a little further than being hypnotized. I can see like that perspective, what you're saying, but it seems like her soul was actually also kind of somewhere, kind of similar to like a Black Phone type of situation, Black Phone 1 and 2, where
Mm.
the kid, people call from another dimension or another realm. These ghosts in the afterlife, basically, they're calling, they're
Oh,
using
okay.
this phone as like a conduit to talk to people in the living world. And so, but we don't know exactly where they're at. I don't know the ghosts in Black Phone anyway. So I thought that was kind of similar to that, in where Nikki is
Oh, I see.
somewhere in some other like other dimension or
Okay. Well, maybe it is that. Maybe I missed that part. I mean, maybe it could be something like that. Like she actually goes into, like you mentioned, some kind of like hell or something, some kind of like weird, I don't know, world or something where she's just there and doesn't know what's going on,
yeah,
and then she's in pain or
yeah,
during that whole time.
yeah. So yeah, speaking of, kind of segue to that. So yeah, there was like a lot of creepy moments. That was part of it too. I noticed there was a lot of similarities from some other horror movies, and some of them I already mentioned. So I wonder. I don't think I haven't heard Curry Barker mention this in in any of the interviews that I've seen. There's many more that I can watch, but what I've been suggesting, or what I've been saying to others who haven't seen this yet, as far as to give them an idea of what the vibes and some of the similarities with other movies, to kind of give them an idea, I would tell them that it has like the same vibe as Talk to Me, Smile, and
Hmm.
Weapons, and it does seem like it takes certain elements from there. So again, I don't know if that's intentional or not. I haven't confirmed that, but for example, here on the far right, you can see the way she's smiling. That reminiscent of the movie Smile itself, where the theme is just that, right? Like there's a reason behind that, but there's a lot of people who have this creepy smile right before they die, and so that reminded me of that. The Talk to Me portion, for those of you who've seen Talk to Me, if you haven't, I won't say too much, but there's also a supernatural element to that, and some possession that takes place. But yeah, just like you were saying, and like I was, talking about, as far as a soul being trapped in another dimension and kind of communicating or coming out in a certain way. Talk to Me had some of that also, where there was a young adult who was possessed, and or he was just out of it. Basically, he was like in a coma, like you were mentioning, Gio. He kind of seemed like he was in a coma state, and then every now and then the demonic or supernatural evil forces that uh, I guess kidnapped that young adult's soul would come through and say, say things like, we have this person here, he's ours. And then I forget how someone has visions of like that young adult's soul, or they're being like in this realm, and they're being tortured slowly, and just being like, you hear him, you can see him screaming. There's like flashes in a scene of them screaming. And so
Mm.
that this Nikki and how she was remind me of that. Weapons, obviously, the main thing was the One Wish Willow. So afterwards, it didn't dawn on me, but I personally thought, like some others did, like this was in the same universe, or
As
maybe
weapons.
tangential to Weapons, because of, for those of you
Break.
who've seen it, like there's a breaking of a branch
Yeah.
that causes certain things to happen, right? So one of my first thoughts after the film was like, oh wait, are these in the same universe because of that, or was that actually the same branch that Gladys uses? And so I looked it up, and it was. And then the first giveaway though should have been that they were made from different production companies,
Mm.
and so that could have been a factor there. I don't know. Did you have something similar? Did you have a similar thought too when you saw this?
Well, I didn't really think it was connected because what you said, it's a
Yeah,
different studio. I was like, well,
yeah,
it can be connected, but it is kind of interesting that they kind of thought of the same idea about breaking of branches, I guess, of a willow.
yeah,
Breaking, that stuff. So that kind of worked. Uh, but no, I didn't actually think that it was connected. But if they wanted it to connect it, I think it would probably work well. So
yeah. Right. Yeah,
yeah.
that would be cool to see, like some sort of crossover or connection somehow. Yeah, that would be cool if like those studios kind of came to agreement and they teamed up to do some sort of. I don't think that's something. well, I guess no, I was gonna say I don't think we've seen like a some sort of universe, a horror universe within like a certain IP. But then I just remembered Conjuring, right? That's I think the closest thing we have to um
Like a
a
cinematic horror universe.
yes, exactly, yeah, cinematic horror universe with Conjuring,
Yeah,
Annabelle, and
The
um
Conjuring is the only
the
one that I can
Nun.
think of.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So
Mhm.
maybe, yeah. Hopefully that we get it. We see another one of those because that's always cool to see. But I wanted to go back and we already touched on this before, but the overall theme of this film per Curry Barker, in one of the interviews, he did mention that the theme of this, he wanted to start off with. The theme for this was codependence and how extreme that can get, right? And so this in this situation, the codependence is Nikki on Bear, right? Her codependence on Bear to an extreme degree. Again, hence the obsession. And so there's been some discussions on that, and then we kind of touched on this earlier about who's actually obsessed. And initially, you and I both thought it was Bear based on the opening, but then we come to see that it's to an extreme level. It is Nikki, but yeah, I think it's still up for interpretation. Who's the one who's actually obsessed? Because once, we already touched on this, but once Bear finds out and he realizes that it was his wish, there's like a certain point in the
Mhm.
film where he does realize it was his wish that caused it.
Yeah.
He still tries to make it work. Like um, he doesn't give in, right? He still attempts and he tries to do everything he can to make it work. And
He's
I don't
still
know.
hopeful.
Yeah, he's still hopeful. Like, what were your thoughts on that theme and just that whole situation in general?
Yeah, that's kind of the complicated components of his character in this, like what I mentioned earlier. Because it's kind of like, okay, well, this guy's in love with a girl. He's very shy. He wasn't able to actually reach out to her and you know tell her how he really feels. So he did this little wish, which you probably thought didn't work. Then at one point he thought maybe maybe everything was real and legit until all the craziness starts happening, and they're like, oh, maybe it is the wish, but he's still kind of hopeful because he's so much in love with her, and he's already had like a taste, right? So it's
Yeah,
kind of like
he's had that
so
taste.
it's like I don't want to let that go. Maybe it's not that. Maybe I can still try to kind of like fix it because there's plenty of opportunities where he could have like escalated this to something for some more help as to what's going on. Because in real life, some of the things that she starts doing, just anyone, just anyone in general,
Yeah,
some of the things that she starts doing is like something needs to happen. Someone needs help here, so
yeah,
you're not going to continue with that. So I mean you could, like you mentioned, talk about the interpretation that's Bear was obsessed as well. So because when it comes to Nikki, we know that it was the wish, it was the uh she was hypnotized or possessed or however term you want to use. Like the actual character of Nikki, she wasn't in love with Bear, as we figure out and learn. I think
right.
we kind of know that from the beginning.
Yeah,
So we know that she's not. But then now we see all this craziness after the wish. So it comes to obsession because of the things that we see. But I guess the main one that would be obsessed would be Bear. I guess that's the one that you would say that he's the one that was obsessed. Because even later on, he's just ignoring all these things until it's kind of like too late. Like people are like already like stuff is happening, like in that second picture that you see on the right. So
yeah, yeah.
so
Covered in blood. Yeah,
and then it's like then he shows up at the shop like that. I was like, okay, so that's what it took for you to now finally, look into things. And I know he called that one number like you mentioned. He called the number
yeah,
of the customer service, and the guy was like, "Are you unsatisfied with your wish?" I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, like whatever about it."
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and it's like, yeah. So it's like, and there's like, "Do you want to cancel your wish?" And it's like, and he still was like, "No, I just want to alter it a bit." So he was still like believing that it was the wish, but he was still trying to make it work. Like he was still trying to, like, well, let me just alter some of what I said so that I could still get what I want, but without the craziness. So I mean, you can, like I said, I mean, the more I'm talking about it, I think you could just say that the obsessed person was Bear. So
yeah. No, yeah, I think
So
it's
yeah.
definitely up for interpretation, and there's
Mhm.
there's moments in the scene where that kind of like support there's where the things he does supports that, which you're what you're saying, Gio, on that about Bear being obsessed, because there's going back to the moments where you had mentioned Nikki, the real Nikki comes through
Mhm.
and she has certain reactions. So there, yeah, there was a moment where Bear's trying to sneak out to go. Oh, it was to go see. I think it was when he went to go see Sarah, right, the other friend, because she had texted him, and
Oh
so
yeah.
he wanted to sneak out, and he was gonna leave, and so he snuck out of bed because he didn't want to wake Nikki. So he was about to leave, and all of a sudden you hear Bear, and Nikki starts talking, but then you come to find out that it's the real Nikki. She's come through again, and she's talking to him because the obsessed Nikki, quote unquote, is asleep, and she's like, she's asleep,
Oh yeah,
and then
yeah.
she starts begging for Bear to kill her. She's like, kill me.
Oh,
She
that's
says,
right.
please, yeah, and so
That was a bit disturbing, actually. That was a bit disturbing that
it was,
she would
yeah,
rather die than to feeling going through that uh,
yeah,
situation. So
another
so maybe it is more what you said, that maybe she is like in some kind of like uh,
like
creepy
some
or
sort of
hell
dimension or
dimension type of
yeah,
thing, that she's just there, and she's in pain and stuff like that,
yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I forgot
maybe.
about
Like
that.
she didn't want to. Like she just. Yeah, at that point, I think by then she just the real Nikki realized like she's just trapped and stuck there, and she's. Yeah, and that again, like you mentioned, like I agree, you touched on. It's one of those subtle scenes that I had mentioned earlier, where it's like it doesn't take that much, but it's just unnerving and it's just really creepy, and it's just someone whispering and talking to another person. But the way they did that and how they
Mhm.
set up that mood. And yeah, and they don't really they show Nikki lying down, but it's from like her feet perspective, so you don't see her. I don't recall seeing her mouth moving. You just hear the voice, and that
Right,
just
right.
adds to the creep factor, right? And so like you just see her body there, and she's sleeping, but you can hear her talking. It's yeah, it's really creepy and bare.
And
I think go ahead.
doesn't Bear ask her a question about like, do you not like, I forget what he says.
No, that's what I was gonna get. Yeah, she was
Oh,
like,
okay, good.
yeah, and I forget how it comes up, but yeah, she was like, what's so wrong about loving me or being with me or something along those lines. Yeah, like there
Mhm.
was something, like she wants to kill her. He's like, I can't kill you, and Bear tells her that, and then she had made a comment about, like, I don't want to something about I don't want to love you forever, something along those lines. And he's like, well, what's so wrong with that? Or it was again, I'm paraphrasing because I'm forgetting the exact wording, but I think it was that moment you kind of then were like, oh damn, okay, maybe again adding to like you were saying, Bear is the one that obsessed, or that's where you start questioning, okay, who's actually the villain in this movie? Was it the possessed Nikki, or is it now Bear? And that kind of touches on, again, codependence, and also to some degree, what is it? Consent, right? At what point
Right.
is consent not consent? I'm not going to get into that, but I'll just leave that up for you all to decide. But
Yeah.
yeah, it touches on that
Mhm.
topic, that theme. I know it's really controversial, but still, like it makes you question yourself, like, oh shit, you know, um, is he the villain? Did he just become the villain because of that, or was he already the villain prior? Yeah, there's just so many social, psychological aspects to this that
Yeah.
just causes some debates here. But that again, I think that's what makes it a great movie. It makes you actually question how you think about something that you thought you knew,
Right.
or didn't. I don't know. Do you agree, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with that, because, like I said, I mentioned earlier that his character is very complex. Because I mean, at the beginning, you kind of see him, and he's presented as like this really nice guy, and he's like shy, whatever, and
Yeah.
he really loves his cat, because cat died and stuff like that,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and so, but he was just obsessed with this girl, right? So it's kind of like, and now, even after all this, so when you mentioned that the real Nikki is like reaching out and saying like she'd rather die, basically, uh saying, like, kill me, and then he was not really that much concerned about that. It was more
Mhm.
like, wait, so you would rather be dead
Oh yeah.
than actually
I think
be
that's what it
with
was.
me? So it kind of went
Yeah.
back to that more
Yeah.
than anything. So at that point I was like, okay, so yeah, so obviously there's something off with Bear already, right? But
Yeah.
that kind of double confirms it there. So I guess the complexity starts to fizzle out a little bit more now with
Yeah.
scenes like that. But yeah, I thought it was. Um, I guess you could still say that he would be like the villain of this film, Obsession, because like I said, even before he, at first he was like didn't believe it, but later on we know that he knows that it did happen. Uh, she was hypnotized, and he just still wants to be with her and stuff like that. But
Yeah. No, yeah, and then that kind of, again, going back to the idea that it seems like someone has to die here within the movie. Um, and he called the going back to the one wish wheel, he called the number on there, and the guy even says, because Bear asked him like, well, what can I do? What are what are my options basically? And the
oh,
guy's
yeah.
like, well, you can either kill yourself to end the wish. Once you die, the wish goes away, or it just wears off. So there's that. Or I can't remember if the guy on the phone also mentioned having someone else wish to unwish his wish. And so that was also, so both those options, if not just at least a one, um, was brought up when he went back to the shop where he bought the one wish willow, which I thought was actually kind of side note there. It was kind of a funny interaction, because he goes and he's looking for the one wish willow, and they kind of do a little like meta thing where um they kind of do that thing where the guy at the counter is like, what are you talking about? Like, one wish willow, we never had that. I've never seen those before. He kind of does that thing where, again, it's some typical horror tropes where you know um, someone goes to buy something, or they see something like a house, for instance, and then they go back to where this house was, and it's like it's
It's
like
gone.
completely gone. Yeah, and
All
they're
right.
like, they ask somebody else like, where's that house? I was like, they're all what house? I've been here for 100 years or 80 years.
that's
I've never seen
that's
that
kind of
house.
like that episode of The Simpsons
Was
with
oh, what was that in there?
yeah, well, because the guy that sells Homer the paw, um, the wish,
Yeah,
the monkey's
monkey's
paw or
paw. Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, they can do wishes, and then
Oh,
he
and it
buys
actually I
it.
remember that part. Yeah, did it actually disappear?
Yeah, so he buys
Oh, okay.
it, and then it's like, "Where did you get that?" I think one of the kids asked, or maybe Marge, one of them. Then, "Where did you get that?" It's like, "I got it over there." And then he turns, and it's like, it was over there, and there was just like little like wind, like
Oh, it's
no one
gone.
was
Oh,
there. It
yeah.
was gone. But then he was like,
Tumbleweeds.
"Oh, it's over there. He's over there."
Yeah.
So it's on the
Oh,
other
I
side.
see. Oh, okay. Yeah. So they kind of did something similar here, but I mean, it was a joke, right? It was just like a parody of the guy behind
Yeah,
the guy's like, nah, I'm just messing with you. Yeah, they're right here. They just had
yeah.
moved them. So I thought that was funny. Yeah. I mean, again, like some of the, but kind of some of the aspects, you kind of see some of the hints of Barker or Curry Barker's comedic background. Like, I like how he throws it in here too. Like, just some moments that were actually like funny. And I kind of laughed, and like the awkwardness. I don't know if they were intended to be funny, but there was some like silent moments where people were just staring at each other, and I just kind of started laughing just because it was weird. But um, a good balance. It strikes a good balance where like the humor wasn't forced; it was kind of subtle, but I think it still worked, whether that was intentional or not. So yeah, I think Curry Barker did a good job with that. But so yeah, going back to Bear, try to again see how he tried to get more one wish willows, because I think he had the idea is like, okay, well, I'll just buy more and try to
Mhm.
unwish my wish or alter it. And he talks to the guy behind the counter, and the guy basically throws the same suggestion, saying that yeah, you can either he would have to kill himself or have someone else. He's like, maybe you can have someone else unwish your wish, and
Oh
then
yeah.
that's where he gets the idea to go to his friend Ian's house and tell him. And then he just opens up and tells him everything, and that's where I think that's where you find out. Oh no, yeah, Bear had already knew beforehand that Ian and Nikki were kind of hooking up off and on, and so yeah, that was already brought up, without Bear knowing, kind of behind his back,
And then
and
Bear, he couldn't do another wish. He couldn't wish to end the wish because there's only one wish.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
So
why
that's
he needed someone else needed to do the wish.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, before that happened, I think that's before he got to the shop. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's where he had bought. Um, oh no, no, actually, it was that same time right after he bought a bunch of them. He went back, and
Mhm.
at first he tried to unwish it himself, and yeah, he would open a bunch of these one wish will, and he tried to break them, but he couldn't. It was just like
Oh, it wouldn't
physically
break.
impossible. Yeah, it wouldn't
Yeah, it
break.
wouldn't break. Yeah.
Um, s- Side note again, something I didn't catch, but I saw. Curry Barker mentioned in another interview. And I think this was, and I forget the where he mentioned this, but I was watching a video, YouTube video with an interview, and he said one thing up until that point people didn't catch, and I didn't catch it myself. I'm not gonna lie, but he did say so. There's a, I mentioned when you open the box, the One Wish Willow box, that there's a tune that plays. But he pointed out that if you've already made a wish and you open another One Wish Willow box, a different tune plays. It's kind of more of like a um, kind of like a signal to indicate that you've already made a wish, so you shouldn't be making another
Oh.
one. And he said there's a different tune that plays if you've already made a wish and you open one. And I never caught that, so now even
Oh.
more reason for me to go
Okay.
back and watch it again and see if I can listen to that. Because he did also
Yeah.
say, because if you notice at the end, the ending here, which we'll touch on, Nikki opens a One Wish box and it plays the initial tune that we hear. And so yeah, I didn't catch that, so that's little trivia there. I need to go back and listen for that. But yeah, he doesn't. He takes it to his friend Ian. Bear takes the One Wish Willow to his friend Ian. He tells him, Ian, of course, Ian doesn't believe him. And then she just like right there, bam, I wish for $1,000,000, breaks it. It just starts raining money on him.
Yeah.
So I don't, did that scene kind of take you out of it a little bit at all? Did it change anything, how you felt about the movie at all at that point?
Um, I don't know. It was kind of I don't know how I feel about it actually, because it was kind of like yeah, obviously the friend doesn't believe it, so like, all right, I wish I have $1 billion, and then the money
Yeah.
just kind of drops. But it was kind of like I wonder like how many people have done that and like nothing came about. Like
Yeah,
if
right.
they wish thing, like you would know, like people would know more about it, and it would be more of a thing. Even
Yeah.
if they, even because most of them you just do it just fucking around anyways. You're just joking, like initially, like how Bear did it and how that guy did it, the friend Ian.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, because that part kind of like did take me out of it a little bit, but I mean, it kind of fits with the whole wish thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, that was kind of like the only thing that I had with that. But yeah.
Yeah, it was a little inconsistent. I don't know why, I don't say it's inconsistent. It's weird because yeah, I agree with you. I didn't know how to feel about that because it was a little more. How do I put it? Yeah, it's like up until that point, it was, you still weren't. Well, I don't say you weren't sure. I mean, there were some supernatural forces at play here
Mhm.
from like again, like early in the movie when Bear makes his wish, but it wasn't. You couldn't really see it visually. Like there wasn't anything to show that there was supernatural force at play. It was kind of all like kind of implied. I would say, unless I'm forgetting
Like
something. But yeah,
like it kind of didn't fit with the rest of the tone of the movie.
right, yeah.
Like it kind of like
It went more like Aladdin, like genie wishing, where like,
yeah,
I
like
mean,
it
which
made
it, which
light
it
of
kind of
it.
is. Yeah, exactly. They made light of it, and it's like he wished for $1 billion, and bam, it just happened. It just started raining,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. That it kind of feels like that seems a little too Shazam, or not Shazam, Kazam,
Yeah, Shazam, Kazam. Yeah, yeah, or like
Kazam.
Kazam or Genie. Kazam's
Yeah,
that was with Shaquille O'Neal, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
Kazam
that's
with
what.
the
Yeah,
killer. Exactly.
that's right. Yeah, like genie and the lamp type of situation, and it kind of, yeah. I think that took it out a little bit for me, but
Mm.
yeah. So I don't know. I think I've kind of read some others who kind of had felt like similar. So, but I mean, like that didn't detract me from the movie at all. It just, I think they probably could have approached it differently. I don't know how, but yeah, I don't know. It's just something minor, I guess, in my eyes, but it's still like it did affect me a little bit there. Um, and then, so yeah, going back to the options of what he could do to fix his wish, quote unquote. And then, straight from that scene with Ian, he goes back home. Bear goes back to his house, and then Nikki's there. Oh, and I forgot to, yeah, this actually, before he goes back, I think the reason he goes to find out what he can do and how he can fix his wish, I think the last straw, which was another really what the hell or what the F moments that happened in the crazy where, Bear, he goes to sneak off to talk to Sarah, like one of the other friends, and they're in her van, and she's been trying to get into the school, and so she
Oh
wants
yeah.
to share this moment with him, like to find out. She got a letter, and she hasn't opened it yet, and she's gonna open it there with him. She wants to share that experience with him because they kind of I guess we're going through that whole process with her up until then.
Mhm.
And so she's gonna see if she got accepted to school or not. And so they're talking, and then you kind of that's where we find out that Sarah has feelings for Ian. This all it's kind of one of those situations where someone likes someone else, but it turned out the friend liked him the whole time secretly. Like like we've seen that before in other movies. So kind of same
Really?
situation here. Um, and yeah, and it kind of seems like Bear's actually digging it. And he's kind of receptive to it. And you kind of see like, oh damn, he was actually had feelings for the wrong one this whole time. Again, we've seen that before, but yeah, out of nowhere, Nikki just comes up, and I was always again, it's one of those situations where I personally knew like, oh man, at any moment something's gonna happen. There's
Yeah,
just like two, yeah,
you
but
you
not
can
again.
you can tell by the angle of the shot too.
Yeah, you have an idea, but you don't know what it is. Again, it's
Right,
just
right.
it goes back to like doing something differently and kind of surprising you, even though you're expecting or anticipating something, you still surprise you. And at
Yeah.
least for me, anyways, that's how I felt. And so yeah, Nikki comes out, breaks the window on Sarah's side, and just starts grabbing her head and bashing it against the steering wheel. Not once, not twice, not thrice, but
No,
yeah.
she put a brick. She put a brick on the steering wheel,
Oh, did she? Okay,
and
I guess I
then she
missed that.
started, yeah, she put a brick.
Oh, okay. I missed. I thought it
Yeah,
was just
that
the steering wheel itself.
I think that's why she was able to break the glass so easily, because I think she
Oh,
used the
okay.
brick to break it, and then she puts the brick, and then just fucking starts hitting
Oh, I guess I missed it then. I
for
missed.
like,
Yeah,
I don't know how
wow.
many
Okay.
times. It was like 10 times or something.
Yeah, it was multiple. Actually, speaking of, I had read something. I haven't confirmed it. I haven't confirmed this, so you guys let me know again in the comments. Or Gio, you probably know, but
Mhm.
I had read something that it was actually this movie's going to get an NC-17 rating because there
Mhm.
were going to be more smashes to that scene than there
Yeah.
are currently, right? And so because of that, I think Barker had to cut something like 6 to 7 head smashes out to bring it down to an R rating. Did you hear about that?
Yes.
Yeah, is
Yes,
that true?
I think he had to cut, where is it? What
Which
was
is
removed?
crazy. Yeah.
Director Curry Barker revealed that he had to trim 6 or 7 head smashes from
Yeah. Okay.
the single gory scene.
This is crazy.
The original sequence was too graphic and would have forced the film into an NC-17
Too
rating.
graphic. Okay, like it's not already.
I know. So I guess there was more of it. I mean, there was a lot in the
Yeah, that was
actual
already a lot to begin with.
original cut there, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah. No,
so hopefully
I
we'll
think
get
they
that cut.
yeah, I know, right? The director's cut where they just add 6 to 7 more smashes. Yeah, and it was I think yeah, that was I think the only goriest part in the movie. I'm trying to think back.
I think
And they
so.
actually showed it was like Terrifier status where they come back and they
Mhm.
show like Sarah's face all just like bashed in. I think you can see like her eye. It was yeah,
Yeah.
pretty graphic and gory. Like holy shit, it was crazy. But no, I think they made the right call there. Even despite the rating, like rating aside, I think if they added more smashes, it probably would have been like too much. It would have been like overkill. It's like pardon the pun, but
Pun intended.
um, yeah. But I think yeah, it was a right call there. So that's from there. I think that's when Bear's like, okay, that's it. I need to. This is out of control. Is out of hand. That of all things, right? That was a final straw, and he was really pissed. And so that's where he starts trying to find a solution. And then he goes back home after he talks to Ian, the whole $1 billion thing. Then that's we're coming up to the end of the movie now. And then he's looking, Barrett goes into the house looking for Nikki. And then we see that he's looking around and he sees a body on a chair. Like it's in the darkness, right? There's no light on it, but you see a body just kind of sitting there propped up on the chair. And I believe that's supposed to be Sarah. I don't think it was confirmed, but I think what Nikki took her body and put it there on the chair for whatever reason. And then we see Nikki, and again, she appears in the shadows, but she appears to have a resemblance to Sarah. She even like either drew tattoos on her or put tattoos on herself, and she did her hair to look like Sarah. And she, I think, was like trying to smoke and act like Sarah. And so, yeah, that was. What were your thoughts on that whole scene, like that final, that last bit of the movie?
Yeah, I mean, that just goes back to the whole obsession situation
Yeah,
that it's trying to be like, okay, so now you don't like this version of me, so now you seem to like this other version, this other person.
right.
So now I'm gonna be her so that you would like me or something. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
this one. No, yeah, that's true. She even says like, why don't you love me, or why can't you love me? And so she's like, again, kind of going to the extreme of um, doing anything necessary to make Bear love her, and even acting like somebody else, like another person. Um,
Hmm.
I will say though, on that scene, I when after we see Sarah's body, or her corpse, I should say, and then Nikki appears, I did think that there was a moment where I was thinking, like, oh man, when Nikki started talking, like, why don't you love me? Like, I want to be like her, or I'm trying to be like her for you, type of thing. And I couldn't really make it out, but I thought she was going to be wearing some part of Sarah. But I don't think that was the case. It looked
Hmm.
like, again, I have to go back and see and pay extra attention, or read more up on it. But I did see someone, like, there was another video where someone was saying that Nikki was wearing Sarah's like scalp, like she had scalped her and put uh, Sarah's scalp on herself. So like Nikki was wearing her hair basically, because she had her hair done. But I don't think that's accurate. I
Hmm.
think that's correct, because I have to go back. I'm gonna go back and watch the movie. But when I first saw it, I noticed there was hair on Sarah's body still. And so I think what Nikki just did was just style her hair to look like Sarah's, made it curly basically. So I don't
I don't
think,
I don't recall seeing that, but
yeah,
I might have missed it though.
I'm not 100% certain, but I think that was still Nikki's hair, and that she just styled it to look like Sarah's, because I think Sarah was still intact. Again, it was kind of hard to see in the shadows, but I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that was the case. I don't think there's any mutilation or scalping that took place. And
So
I could be wrong. I got to go back and watch it again.
another
Should do.
reason to
Right?
rewatch that.
Yeah.
Although that, I guess that would kind of explain why she still has her body and brought her over there.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah. Like, why would she still have the body? Yeah, that's another thing why I was thinking. I was like, why is she displaying the body there for Bear? Because he liked her that much. He liked her, so Nikki wanted to please him by doing that. Kind of like we didn't touch on this, but the whole cat situation where she brought the cat back out
Oh,
after
that's right.
his Bear's cat died, and she she made like a, what did she call it? Like a um not a I want to say ritual, but like a what do you call this thing where you, like, in remembrance of somebody? I'm blanking
Uh,
on the term. A
I can't think of
Not a
the word.
monument, but something like on those lines where you can, like, a not a worship type, like some sort of like altar type of thing, or something to kind of like, she uses a word, but I'm blanking on it. But anyways,
Me too, actually.
yeah, she like had his dead cat there on the this is earlier in the movie, on some sort of like plate or something there on the floor, and he's like, why did you do that? And she like, because I know how much you loved this cat, and so I wanted to do this for you. So I think now that I'm talking about that, I think that's why she brought Sarah's body, for that same reason, like, because she knew that Bear liked her, and so in order to please him, even though she didn't like Sarah, but she wanted to please Bear, so she's willing to do that, and also dress up as Sarah. So yeah, that
Like
was kind of
so
touching back on that.
like an altar, or is that what
Yeah,
it's
I
called?
want to say altar. I don't know if is that the right word. I think it might be an altar. Um, and then yeah, final moments. That same scene, final moments. Bear, he goes in the bathroom. That's what we have here in this photo on the right, where he's like, okay, you know what? It's there's nothing else. I've tried everything, and he was going to kill himself. He takes all these pills,
Mhm.
kind of in a callback to his cat died
Foreshadowing.
from eating one of his pills. I think he had, like, the cat got into his medication and ate, I don't know how many, but ended up dying from that. And so I think that's what triggered that in his head. And so he got the pills, and he was just going to basically overdose, just swallowed a bunch of them. Last second, he's like, oh shit, wait, what am I doing? For some reason, he changes his mind and he starts trying to vomit. But then, do you remember what happens right after that, or before?
Um.
We hear the One Wish Willow tune in the background,
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh
and you're
yeah,
like,
and then
oh
he
crap.
stopped, and then he stops,
Yeah.
right? And then he just like gets up, and then he walks out, and then goes embraces uh Nikki again, like
Yeah.
nothing happened, like they're in love again. So,
Yep. Yeah, and you totally, by that scene, like by that time, you totally forget that. I mean, it was kind of dumb, but at the same time, like, he was in a hurry, he's in a panic, he wasn't really thinking straight. So he brought the One Wish Willow that he had to his house with him, because he had bought a bunch from the store earlier, from that shop, He already gave one to his friend Ian. Ian already made his wish, and so he had extras. I think one more or something like that. And yeah, he brought it to the house. Nikki came across it, and yeah, you hear that in the background. So actually, I don't know if he was trying to vomit um before she made the wish or after. I forget the timing on that, but to throw up the pills that he
I
swallowed.
think it might have been before.
Was it? Yeah, I think it might have been before too. So yeah, he tried to and then you hear in the background, then yeah, you said he slowly walks out, and then they just show they kind of he comes out and they're like both looking at each other, and he goes to her, and it seems like now it's like at that point it's like mutual, but then of course he already took the pills, and so he starts dying. And then Nikki's crying, and then she snaps back from it after a while, and the movie just ends from there. She's just like the real Nikki finally comes out. She's crying and screaming in horror because she sees Ian's body there, because Ian's there, dead because Nikki, the fake Nikki, had shot him as he came up there. Bear's dead, and she's just like, "What the hell?" Yeah, and then the way they ended it too was really cool too. They just kind of pan, down. So they go down from Nikki as she's screaming, and they pan over to the TV that was on, and I think that was a bear. There was like a video playing a bear that I'm guessing Nikki had recorded, but it's upside down when it pans to it. So it pans like if you imagine 180 degrees vertically starting from Nikki, and it goes down
Oh, okay, yeah.
180 degrees. And like, so when you get to the TV, it's upside down, and you can still hear in the background as the credits roll. Yeah, it was just a really unique, interesting take. Kind of again switching it up on what we traditionally see from movies in general. But what is your take on that whole scene, that whole end sequence, and everything?
I think I read somewhere that I think Nikki was supposed to be the one that was gonna kill herself,
Oh yeah,
and
yep,
then
I
they
had read
had
that too.
to re-edit and change the ending so that Bear will be the one who ultimately killed himself in a way, right, with the
Yeah,
pills and all that stuff. So yeah, I thought that whole thing was done very well, like most of the movies. So and then after he dies because of the pills, and then Nikki snaps out of it. Now she's the uh, the curse or whatever you want to call it is gone,
mm,
because the wish was until that person who made the wish
yeah,
continues to live. So when they're no longer living, that curse or whatever is done. It's over. And so yeah, so I mean, I think that was probably the better route um,
yeah,
with that ending. I think it's just a better ending there. But yeah, I thought it was done very very well. So I do want to and need to watch it again, because there's some
yep.
other things that I want to look over again. Maybe some little things that I still miss, and but yeah, overall great.
Yeah, man, great movie. Again, talking about it as expected makes me want to go see it again. Like I already did before, but this even more.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was the gist of the movie. There, I know we go through certain scenes. I wanted to touch on a couple other things here. In general, going back to Nikki's inspirations for playing the role, she had mentioned. I think Curry Barker had mentioned this too. I think they referenced this movie as a team. Him and the crew or the cast. They mentioned Pearl. There's a movie Pearl from 2022, which I've never heard of and I haven't seen, but
Oh
I'm curious now
yeah,
to go back and watch it. Are you familiar with that movie?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I've
okay,
seen it.
yeah. Have you seen? Oh, you seen it? Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I'm curious now. Is it worth watching? Is it a good watch?
There's three. So
Oh, there's three pearls. Okay. Whoa.
it's not called Pearl. Actually, that's the second one.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Let me just make
Yeah.
sure that that is the movie that I'm referring to. You said
Okay. Yeah,
2022, right?
that's
Yeah, it's got to
yeah,
be
that's
it.
the one.
Yeah,
That's the one they reference. They say pearl in there, so
yeah,
I'm
Pearl.
guessing it's that one.
Yeah, it is that one. I think the director is West Ti West or Ty West or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Ty West,
I've not heard.
Ti.
Okay.
So he's the director. So he made that's the second one. The first one was a movie called, I think they called it
Opal.
X. Uh,
Oh, X. Oh, yeah, with Jenna Ortega,
um, who was she in that?
right? Is that X?
Oh yeah, she was in it. Yes, Mia
Yeah.
Goth.
Okay.
So
Mia Goth. Yeah. Mia Goth.
Mia
Yeah.
Goth is Pearl. She's the main character
Oh,
in
okay.
Pearl. So he made a trilogy of these films. X
Oh,
was the
okay.
first one. Then he did Pearl, and then the last one was Maxine. I think it's called
Oh,
Maxine.
okay. I didn't realize it was a trilogy. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
wow.
so it's
Okay.
three
Yeah.
movies of that, and the second one is Pearl, and that's the one that I like the most, actually, of the three.
Okay. Can you watch? Would audiences be okay to watch that without having to watch X or having seen X?
I think you could watch Pearl because it's a prequel anyway. It's like
Oh, okay. That
it's
makes sense.
it's kind of confusing in a way because Mia Goth is portraying um like different characters. Let me go back
Mm,
here. Because Pearl
okay.
is set early in the, I think, 1920s or something like that. Like it's
Oh, okay.
early on. Let me see. Let me go back over here. Let's see. 1918 is
Oh,
what
okay. 19. Okay.
Pearl is set with and then her characters obviously Pearl, and then we get the X film. In the X film, wait,
Like
hold
in
on.
the 70s or the 60s, it looked like.
Yeah, that's in the
Trying to.
70s. I'm trying to remember if it's the same character or not. I don't know
Okay.
if that was considered spoilery or not, but
Oh, there you go. Too late
so,
now. Spoiler alert. Yeah,
so
for a spoiler during a spoiler discussion.
let me see here. Let me just double check on that though, because
Yeah.
hold
Yeah,
on a
no worries. While
second.
you're looking that up, let me go over the so something really impressive and a accomplishment for this movie, earnings. I mentioned earlier we were going to cover this. I wanted to touch on this too because it's worth noting for sure. And again, kudos to Barker and his team, the casting crew on this. But so from what I was reading, the movie was made on a budget of around 750,000. I wasn't able to get the exact number, but I keep seeing that one as a common one, like around that much. But its opening weekend, it had earned $17 million domestically, which was already, that's an accomplishment in itself. Again, it's around $750,000 budget to earning 17 million domestically in its opening weekend. And then from there, it just picked up either because of word of mouth. I think that's the main thing. And people started, hearing a lot more uh, spreading through social media. You know how that works. Yeah, once social media gets a hold of it and people start watching it and singing its praise, it goes through there, and they're like, okay, man, it starts getting others interested, and then yeah, it just picked up from there, which is the best marketing, right? I think in general, it's like the marketing that you don't have to pay for, that just kind of builds itself. That's the ideal situation, right? Where you don't have to spend anything and very little on marketing, and you just let it kind of build its own hype and promote itself through the zeitgeist, through like just the word of mouth. And so yeah, it seems like that's what happened. And let's see, again, we're filming, this is being recorded May 30th. As of May 29th, so yesterday, while I was recording this, it had already crossed the 100 million worldwide earnings for this movie in the box office. Yeah, again, well, that's worldwide, 100 million. And in the US, as of yesterday, the 29th, it made 78 million. So obviously the difference in that between that 100 and the 78 million is international. So it gives you an idea. What is that, like 22 million international? So yeah, definitely well deserved, and it's awesome. Again, congrats to the team. This is I love to see it. I love to see movies like this that come out of nowhere. And I was gonna say underdog, but I wouldn't say it's an underdog because I don't think anyone knew about this, so they couldn't really like downplay it. It's just one of those ones that come out of nowhere and they
Mm.
becomes really successful on its own merit because it's well done. The performance are well done. Everything all around. Again, firing on all cylinders, and it deserves it. Yeah, it deserves it. But what are your thoughts on that, Gio?
Yeah, so I wasn't very much aware of this movie. Usually, towards the end of the year on my channel, I do most anticipated movies of the upcoming year or the next year that's coming up.
Yeah,
So this one was not in there because
same,
I didn't really know much about this movie. I don't even think I even knew about it actually when
same.
I was doing that list towards the end of December in 2025. So we got this marketing. Now what actually pulled me for this movie is the initial teaser trailer.
Oh
So
yeah.
the teaser trailer is just him with the One Wish Willow in the car
Mhm.
when he's calling customer service,
Oh okay.
and it's just like a quick scene of that, and that's it. Like that's the teaser trailer for it, and like with that alone, I was like, oh, I want to know more about that.
Mm.
And I think that worked because then I don't even know if I saw another trailer after that, but
Yeah, I don't recall either.
yeah, but I was already sold. So I wonder like if other people did, and then I know the word of mouth has definitely
Yeah,
spread out there with that movie because I know a lot of
love to see it.
people, most people that I've talked to have seen it,
Hmm.
loved it.
Same.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm glad that it's doing very well because, like I said, these horror movies, even last year there was a lot of horror movies that did well, as I mentioned before, and now we're getting another one here with Obsession and
Hmm.
some that we've had earlier this year, and then there's still more to come.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for all that, and then I'm also excited, as you know, when it comes to the theatrical experience. You know, I always talk about
Hmm.
like I always like going to the movies directly to the theater. No, you know, I know some people can't, for you know
Right.
real reasons.
Yeah.
Have kids or it's just expensive to do
Mhm.
that. So I understand that. I personally, I was advocating to go to the movie theaters if you can, right?
Yeah. Same.
So that we can kind of save it because for a long
Yeah.
time it was kind of dying, but
Yeah.
this year's been doing well at the box office. Not just this movie, but just a lot of other movies at the beginning of
Yep.
the year. There's still a lot more to come, and more horror movies. And like I mentioned last year, like Weapons did very very well at the box office and all that stuff. So all of this is good news to me, and
Hell yeah.
I do want to watch this again. This is actually going to go on digital already. I think on Tuesday.
Is that
Uh,
to rent and buy or to stream?
I think to rent and buy digitally. I don't know if it's gonna go on streaming yet. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm assuming it's gonna go to Peacock since it's a Universal movie or Focus
Mm.
Features Universal movie.
Mhm.
I just don't know how long they're gonna take to actually put it on Peacock.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Eventually, I'm sure it'll get there eventually. But okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Good to know for those. Yeah, who haven't made it to the theaters yet and would rather just see it at home to rent or to buy digitally. I don't know if it's either way. You said next week
and I think
should
on
be
Tuesday, June 2nd.
June
Yeah.
2nd. Okay. Yeah.
But if you're able to watch it in the theater, especially when I
Yes.
saw it, I'm sure when you saw it, Feezy, just the reaction of the audience, some of the shit that
Yeah.
happens in this movie. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yep, I love it.
so
One of the unique experiences, one of yeah, like yeah, you and I again. That's part of our another thing that we share. Common trait we share regarding movies is like going to the theater, getting that experience. And yeah, I'm with you. I love the audience reaction and kind of sharing that moment with them. Uh,
mhm,
Granted, there's no uh, people who are just being rude. Like the negative moviegoers, like the less ideal ones that you wouldn't want to, like the ones that are talking or on the phone, like minus those. Fortunately, I didn't have that. There weren't any of those types of viewers when I went to go see this. I've had those before, but
oh,
aside from
okay.
those types of viewers, yeah, I enjoy watching these movies in theaters and sharing that experience and that reaction with the rest of uh, the the audience there. It's yeah, really
Mhm,
fun. And then we're also physical media for life. You and I know we're big pro physical media lovers and consumers there. So yeah, always supporting those where we can. Speaking of, I will actually come back to that. There's a special physical media version of this that I wanted to share with you all, just so you're aware.
oh yeah.
But going back to what you were talking about, not being this movie not being on our radar for this year. Um, for me personally, it was the same situation with Sinners. Was that last year?
Mhm,
Where I think it had a little more marketing. I can't remember now because I wasn't really paying too much attention. But
yeah.
there was a little more marketing than this, but I was not familiar with it, and I wasn't anticipating or expecting to go see it. It wasn't on my, to films to watch this year type of list. But kind of similar. I kind of word of mouth. I started hearing some buzz about it. And I piqued my interest, and I kind of saw the trailer and looked at more what it was about, and then I was really interested. Went to go see it, and like rest is history. Obviously, like I mentioned, you and I had a discussion of that one movie, the previous episode of that one movie. We both loved it. We both, I believe, saw it twice in theaters also. Um, yeah, that's to me, that's how I know a movie's really good. If I want to go see it twice in theaters and I'm willing to pay that experience. Yeah, it's a win in my book. But so yeah, kind of similarities there with Sinners that went on to win
Yeah.
again a lot of awards, a lot of nominations. So I hope this movie follows suit as well.
Yeah.
We'll,
Yeah.
we shall
So
see.
yeah. So again, I think uh is it Indy? How you pronounce her first name? I think it's Indy
Yeah, I believe it's
Navarrete.
India Navarrete. I think she says,
Indy
yeah,
Indy Navarrete. No, she's like a half Australian, half Mexican American or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So she, I wouldn't be surprised if she gets one, and maybe for writing for Curry Barker. Okay, I see
Yeah,
that. Although the other thing that I was going to mention real quick here,
yeah,
so you know, it is an original story in the sense that it's not based on anything specifically, like it's not based on a book or anything like that. Like it's an
yeah,
original story, but there's a lot of influences because we've seen the story of um, "Be careful what you wish for" type of thing, right?
yeah. Oh, sorry, real
So
quick. I just hit my microphone. Real quick. Sorry about that if I just blew your eardrums out with that hit. But yeah, you just reminded me. I'm going to share this real quick before I forget. So one of another inspiration, we kind of touched on this earlier, but Curry Barker did confirm. He said it's in an interview that so he has the theme of codependence, right? But how he wanted to implement that, I think he was still up in the air. And he was watching an episode of The Simpsons with actually, I think he said the some of the cast of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I think he said. I think he was working on something with them, or he was in an episode, or something like that. But anyways, they were watching an episode of The Simpsons, and this episode of Treehouse of Horror 2 episode came on, and in there, one of the stories was on The Simpsons was the monkey's paw.
mhm.
I think of it's been a while since I've seen this one. I vaguely remember some instances, but yeah, to go along with that theme, be careful what you wish for. Where the monkey's paw, traditional story, I think that we've seen that's been around for a little bit, but
Mhm.
yeah, it takes your wish and it kind of twists it in some way where it's just you got to really be specific and clarify what you're wishing for. It could backfire, and so yeah, that's what this episode was about. But yeah, he did say that he was watching this and he kind of then took that as inspiration to implement the whole like obsession thing, and he used that as a way to approach the whole codependent situation. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Gio, I just wanted to bring that up before I forgot.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was one of them, but there's some other inspirations like when it comes to the "Be careful what you wish for" situation. Like I said, that was one of them, the Treehouse of Horror episode, and there's also isn't there like I think there's a horror series called Wishmaster.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
when
'80s
yeah, I think
film.
I think I actually haven't seen any of these movies, but I remember some people talking about it, and it's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like
That's a good example.
it's some kind of like villain or creature. I don't know what it is that
Yeah,
like
he's a
grants you
he's a like
wishes.
yeah. It's like a I forget the actual term, but I think it's like Middle Eastern lore where it's a genie basically, but I forget what the other term for him. I've heard it before and I can't forget. But same concept. He grants people wishes, but it's like in an evil. It's a horror movie. It's a horror series,
Yeah.
and yeah, like you're saying,
So,
Jin. That's what it is. A Jin. He's a Jin.
oh, okay, okay. So I think it's something like if you wish like, oh, I want to become a millionaire or something like that, and then the jinn thing like kills your parents or something so that you get
Yeah,
the inheritance,
yeah,
so it's kind
yeah,
of like that. Or there's also a Goosebumps book that I remember because I was a big Goosebumps
yeah.
fan of the books
Same.
growing up, and I remember one of them was, I think it was called that. I think it was called "Be Careful What You Wish For,"
Yeah, that sounds
uh,
right. Yeah,
and it was something like that, but a little bit more kid friendly, right?
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but it's kind
For
of just
sure.
like the same concept. We've heard this before. We've heard the term, be
Right.
careful what you wish for because you may regret it, or you may not actually like what that actually means.
Yeah,
So in that sense, it wasn't original, but it's always a good idea to use something familiar, but do
yeah.
your own little take and
Right.
change it up, and because that way you can draw some viewers, some interests, and are like, oh, let me see that take, let me see that interpretation of this particular older, more familiar story that we've seen, and this one definitely worked to an extreme level when it comes to be careful what you
Yeah.
wish for type of thing. But yeah, that was the only thing that I was gonna mention about the actual story or the script about this film here.
Yeah. And you saying that, so thank you for bringing that up because that did remind me also. Again, Curry Barker. I watched a lot of these interviews recently just to for my own curiosity and to kind of add to share with you all here some trivia, some FYI. But he did say Curry Barker did say also that he didn't want to um, in his interpretation of this one wish willow, like the actual the device itself, the one wish willow is not necessarily cursed. It's like you kind of what you already said, right? It's just you have to be literally careful what you wish for and how you wish for it. So you have to be specific. It's not like this, unlike Wishmaster, like you brought up, which is a good example, which I forgot about. But yeah, like he's just intentionally wanting to make people's wishes twisted and evil so he can basically kill them or have them die somehow. But here, this is just like a tool, right? It's just like some sort of tool, and it's up to the user, just like a lot of other things, right? It depends on how they use it and what their intentions are. Not to say he had evil intentions. I think because he just made the wish real quick, he wasn't really thinking it through, and so because of that, he ends up having to, like, it backfires and he pays for it. But Curry Barker did say like he didn't want the one wish willow to be evil itself. It's just you had to be careful how you wish for things, and that again, now that also reminds me, you had brought this up earlier about he wasn't sure if this would work or not. They actually showed this in the film. He went through and after he bought it, I believe he looked it up. He did some research, which I could relate because it's something like I would do before
Oh
I buy
yeah,
something.
that's right.
I go and research
Hmm.
if something like the quality and then, like, read reviews on it. So he did that, and it looked to be something similar to Reddit. Well, I mean, it's not Reddit, but it looked like some
Yeah.
sort of similar forum, community based thing. And I don't know if it actually exists or not, but it's something along those lines. And it was mixed reviews, and it's kind of like what realistic in that sense, and like how you would see some people said it did work, others say it didn't work. And they kind of quickly show some, like, a sentence under each header, like, oh my god, it actually does work. And other ones like, I tried it, it doesn't work. And
Or it's a scam.
yeah, it's a scam. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that kind of, I like how that's like a little detail that they included, which I appreciate, because that's, when that's usually what I see sometimes,
Hmm.
as I'm sure a lot of you out there who out and go and research something,
you're
and you
trying
see
to
mixed reviews.
you're trying to make a decision, and it's like
Yeah,
it's like
like, damn it, this isn't
50-50.
helping
Like
me.
half people love it, half people hate it. So it's like, all right, it's like out
Yeah,
of
or
nowhere.
same with movies. Yeah, where you
Yeah,
come to a point where, like, movies, like, some people love it, some people hate it. So,
right.
yeah, I appreciated that detail. It was cool. And so he wasn't sure, and then he ended up taking a gamble. Um, so yeah, I just like that. So I wanted to touch on that. I just remember that when you mentioned about the validity and confirming this, how this works, and the whole be careful what you wish for, tying it back to, it's not necessarily the one wish will is evil. It's just how you wish for it.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so that was it for the movie. Yeah, I know this was already longer than we expected, as usual, right? We were just talking about this before we started this recording, but I wanted to bring this up because I thought this was really cool. I didn't find this out until after the fact, until it was too
Oh yeah.
late. But they actually made some One Wish Willow replicas. And so let me share this here. This is a legit website. I'll put this website in the description, onewishwillow.com, where you could have ordered some replicas. But unfortunately, as it says here, they're all sold out. So I don't know if they're going to make more or not. But I thought this was really cool. And by the time I found out about this, like I said, I wanted to get one. They were already sold out. But I have seen some posts of people getting them. Um, and
Wait,
it's
so
just,
this
again, it's just, go ahead.
so sorry. So this was a real thing that they were selling?
Yeah, yeah, people actually have it. Like, you could have actually bought
Oh.
it and get it.
I thought it
And
was part of the gimmick about that it's sold out because it's
yeah, no, people actually bought it, and I haven't actually
ah,
seen a video review of it, but yeah, people were actually
oh,
getting it. And
okay.
again, it's just a replica. It's like
Mhm.
some sort of like collectible item for you to have.
I
But
think they did a popcorn bucket of it too, actually. I think from this
oh, did
movie.
they?
I think they
Oh,
did.
interesting. So, Gio, you mentioned before we started recording, and like I wasn't aware that you actually called this number here, this customer
Hmm.
service number. Yeah, I'm curious to hear what happened. What did you when you called it? What was your experience?
Do you want me to
What
call
did you
it?
hear? Oh, you're gonna do it now? Oh man, here we go.
It's short.
Oh, is it short? Okay.
It's like it's a recording, obviously. But
I've
let me
only
see.
read about what happens, but I haven't actually called it myself.
Let me see if you let me know if you can hear it.
Okay, let me mute this background music here. Put on pause.
Unfortunately, we're not liable for any unintended things that might have happened to you or your loved ones. That includes property damages, psychological distress, emotional trauma, extreme personality changes, deeply disturbing displays of love, bodily harm, death, or anything resembling possession and stuff like that. It's all there in the fine print, but maybe you didn't read it. Most people don't. If you need further assistance, well, I hope you can find it because there's not much I can really do. Good luck.
That's it. Did
Wow,
you hear
okay.
it? You were
Yeah,
here?
yeah, I heard it. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for playing that. Yeah, hopefully we don't get any. I don't get any strikes on that for that. I don't think it's
I
copyrighted
don't
or
think
anything, or
so.
patented, or yeah, license on that. So if I will, if something does happen, I can always just edit it out. But yeah, I thought I had read something too that there was some clips of that from Nikki that plays. Have you called it multiple times
For which one?
for this number here?
Have
Or
I
no?
called it before?
Yeah.
Well, I called it right before the stream.
And was it the same message?
It was the same message.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I was thinking that maybe there was another number or something. I don't know, because I thought I read somewhere that if you call something, there's clips of Nikki that plays some, or maybe it had to do with the actual One Wish Willow. I can't remember. There's some audio clips of Nikki that plays on something. Well, I can't remember if it was this
Oh.
or on the One Wish Willow itself.
I'm not
aside
sure
from-
about that, but it's the same exact one that I played before.
Okay, so maybe I'm mistaken then. Yeah. So yeah, let me know in the chat if maybe I'm misremembering where I saw that, or in the comments.
Oh.
So yeah, that's the thing. Keep an eye out if you want to try to grab one of these. Maybe, I don't know if they'll put more up on the site to buy, or you can buy them somewhere else. I'm guessing others may kind of do something similar. I don't know if it's like an Etsy or something. I don't know if that's even legal, but either way, I'll put this link in the description if you want to go check it out for yourself. onewishwillow.com. And then also I mentioned this earlier. So as far as physical media, so it's not up yet on 4K, although I'm eagerly anticipating when this steelbook, if there is one, either way, I'm buying it on 4K. Whatever collector's edition they have, yeah, I'm all in already. But so this company here, Red Planet Video, I'm not familiar with them. I haven't bought anything from them, but I saw this post and I went to go check it out. They made a VHS version of this movie that was up for pre-order. Unfortunately, it's already sold out. They did you can't see the tapes, but there was a red tape version. So VHS tapes was the medium that they use for movies. For those of you who are unfamiliar, who aren't that old enough, there's like cassette tapes before DVDs. This is what they used for movies.
Sad they have to explain what.
I know. And just for those who may not be aware, I'm sure a lot of you do, but just in case, I don't want to assume. But and I'm sure a lot of you know what VHS tapes are. But yeah.
No, I'm just thinking. It's just making me feel really old. That's what I'm saying.
Both. Yeah. But they had a version where the tape was all red, which was really limited. That went out. That was sold out first. Of course, I don't know the quantity, but that was gone. And then there was just the standard black tape that was available, and now unfortunately that's sold out. But again, keep an eye out if you're interested. Hopefully they put more back up on here for you to for those of you who are interested who want a copy of this. And I do like how they implemented the One Wish Willow logo here on the spine of the box, the VHS box. You can kind of see it here on both sides. That's really cool how they did that. I like that. Yeah, I'll put that link in the description below if you want to keep your eyes on that and keep a lookout for that to see if they do have more. But yeah, other than go ahead.
It kind of reminds me of some of the Nickelodeon movies that came out in like the late 90s. The VHS, the tapes were orange. So the tape itself was actually orange.
Oh, really? I don't remember that.
Oh, you remember that? Yeah, because I know
I don't.
We used to have a couple of movies that were like Nickelodeon or whatever. I think like Good Burger.
And those came in orange. That's cool.
Yeah, the VHS, the tape itself was orange. So it kind of reminds me of this because you said that the tape of that one, the actual tape is red. So yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I was really tempted to get this, but I don't have a VCR anymore. I still have VHS tapes that I kept from when I was younger that my family had, and so I claimed them as mine, as my own. Like for example, here I have like this right here on hand, this 1989 Batman, Michael Keaton. This is the original we had, and so yeah, I still have those, but they're like more collectible items, just kind of more like nostalgia. I don't have a VCR though, but that's why I was hesitant to buy this. but that's too late now. So I was thinking about having it as a collector's item, and yeah, we're seeing more and more companies do VHS
Yeah, like the Kill
physical
Bill.
versions of newer movies. I think I shared earlier on my Instagram, Feezy's Media. I reposted the Kill Bill. The Whole Bloody Affair is coming out on 4K soon, and Lionsgate did a special edition VHS version with yellow tapes. I think those tapes were yellow.
Oh, okay,
But yeah, unfortunately, those are sold out as well. So yeah, we're seeing more companies, though, which I think is cool. I know it might not be for everybody, but so then it makes sense to do limited quantities on that. But again, just to FYI, in case of those of you who are interested, that is the thing. Those exist. They're out there. Both this One Wish Willow replica and this VHS physical version of the movie. But Geo, man, we got through it. Like I mentioned, we're just past 2 hours. I know it was a long one. Thank you for all of you who watched from beginning to now to the end. Appreciate your time. Hopefully you found this entertaining, enjoyable. If you did, just a reminder to hit that like button. It would be definitely appreciated. Either way, I do appreciate your time and the fact that you were here. And yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. See if you liked it, if you had if you disagree with certain points, or if you interpreted something differently. Not only for myself and Geo, but I'm sure others would like to see what you guys thought of it and how you interpreted. There's definitely things up for interpretation on some aspects of it. But yeah, let us know. Geo, any other final closing thoughts on the movie? And then anything else you want to shout out or plug?
Well, no, I mean, I think maybe if you've seen this, you probably already saw the movie. But for whatever reason you haven't and you watched this whole review or discussion, then you should definitely watch it in the theater if you're able to, of course. But yeah, Feezy, thank you again for inviting me again for another that one movie episode. So these are fun. I have my own channel about well, I call it the Met Report, about like movies, news, and discussions and stuff like that. I haven't been doing it as often as I used to, as consistent with it. But I do have a show about movie related stuff. I also have horror talk that I do even less often, actually. Like I do a lot of the horror stuff like around Halloween, October.
Yeah,
around that time frame.
Love it.
But again, that's on my channel, the Movie Canon, and stuff like that. But I like doing these. Like I said, I don't really do these long discussion movie review videos or videos myself. So I like going on here when you do one of these. Feezy, like I said, I've done a few with you already, so there's always fun. So, but yeah, again, thank you for inviting me, and then make sure to sub to Feezy's Media if you haven't done so already yet. So, but yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, Gio, like I said, it's always a pleasure. Of course, you're always welcome back for future episodes. I don't do these as often myself. I know it does definitely take some time and some planning. And this is just one of two channels, right? My other channel is Feezy's Figures. If you couldn't tell already, based on collectibles, action figures, right? So I'm more active on that one. But I love, just another hobby that I enjoy: movies, television, video games, collectibles, action figures. There's just so much out there that I enjoy doing, and so I want to discuss and share with all of you out there for other like-minded people. So thank you again, Gio. Thank you. I will have the Movie Canon's link to his YouTube channel and his socials in the description below. So check those out. Show him some love if you like what he's doing. He puts in a lot of good work and time into his stuff. So yeah, go out and check his stuff and show him some love if you like what he's doing. I'm sure he would appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and so with that, just keep it locked. As I mentioned, all my links will be in the description as well. If you want to see more of my content for both Feezy's Media and for Feezy's Figures, that'll be there. But with that, thank you again. Please, if you haven't seen it, go see the movie. I will go see it again. I think Gio said he will. That's going to definitely add to the earnings for sure, which again is well deserved for this movie. I plan on buying it, so enjoy it. If you do, hopefully you enjoyed it. If you don't, I understand it won't be for everybody, but I'd say give it a shot for sure. But with that, take care. Have a good one all. Yeah, and we'll see you at the movies.
All right.
Later.
See you guys.